with the horrors of the internet. Also, my bangs look cool right now. Yeah, my partner and I have like a dedicated Saturday together, and then Sunday's my volunteer day. So I have like a very firm weekend schedule I'm not allowed to break, and my partner's very sensitive about me going on like the phone or the internet when we're together. So yeah, I think it looks awesome. The crazy lady, not a lady. It's so funny because it's like you could give like literally the most milquetoast socialist take on the planet, and Westerners are like, you're an insane person. And they're like, literally, you go to any place that's not the West, this is just like a normal left-wing political opinion. That's how like propagandized the West is. You hear a normal left-wing political opinion from most countries on the planet, and the West is like, you're out of your mind. What? It's pretty funny, honestly. I'm like, yeah, I dyed it. I dyed it over the weekend. I just put it on top though. Like I didn't do my roots or anything, so it's gonna be bad. It's so funny. Okay, I know. Fridge, beautiful. Fridge thirst trap. You don't think Iran's gonna win? You know, here's what I think. The way that the West, I'm going to do a proper analysis of this. The way that the West treats winning in a war is very different than the way other countries do. So, to the United States, the way we approach international conflict. So, my partner made vegan cow soy last night, and it was so fucking good. It's crazy. I just saw it in there. I was like, should I eat that for breakfast? It's so good. Yeah, the fridge is great, right? I also got it. It was a gift to my ex from his parents, but then it broke, and then I think they got a refund on it. So then we just got it for free. All right, so let me talk to you about the difference between how the West perceives war versus other countries. All right, the USA in particular. So, Alexa, stop. So we all know that the United States uses war as a political tool, right? The funny thing is that Donald Trump talked about this when Biden was in office, and was basically like, oh, your approval ratings are down, you're going to start a war to like boost your approval ratings, right? And he talked about this actually in the Obama era too. He was tweeting about this and shit like that during Obama. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. Make no mistake about this. Do not get it twisted. Now, to an American president, then, the success of a war is economic and political. It doesn't matter if you actually win or lose the war. Think about how many Americans don't understand that we lost the Vietnam War. The United States lost the Vietnam War. Alexa, stop. The United States lost the Korean War. We're still at the Korean War. We fucking destroyed 80% of the buildings in Korea, right? And killed 1 in 5 to 1 in 4 people there. And we still couldn't win that war. We got a ceasefire. We did destroy Korea, though. So the way that we talk about what it means to win a war or participate in a war as an America is not like other countries. So our goals are temporarily boost approval ratings, and then use it as an opportunity to pass a bunch of domestic policy through very, very quickly that otherwise people would find unfavorable. And the third is obviously for economic reasons, right? So things like to control the flow of oil, whatever, but also things like supporting the military industrial complex here at home, doing more weapons deals, making defense contractors money. That to us is winning the war. It doesn't actually matter if we win or lose. That's how we end up in all these like forever wars, right? So for Donald Trump, we don't actually have to win a war against Iran. Like there is no winning or losing a war. It doesn't really matter, you know? So for a success for the Trump administration would be like Venezuela, something short, something fast, right? Maybe, where you achieve one clear political aim, which is to control Venezuela's oil. That's what we wanted. That was our goal. We went in. That's an economic motive. That's the true definition of imperialism. Imperialism is not big country does thing I don't like. Imperialism is when you attempt to export finance capital. And make no mistake about it, the United States' interest in oil is financial. We have an oil surplus. It's not actually about oil. If it was actually about energy, we would just build solar panels. Like, that's not what we're interested in. It has to do with propping up our financial sector that relies on oil companies. So that is something we call finance capital. And finance capital is basically saying that instead of having money turn into a commodity that you exchange for more money, you turn money into more money through a commodity. You just turn money into more money through a series of increasingly bizarre financial products. That is finance capital, and imperialism is the exportation of finance capital by definition. So what happened in Venezuela? That's us wanting to turn money into more money through control of their oil industry. That's imperialism. All right. Now, what would victory look like in Iran? Something similar. It could look like something similar. Iran controls the flow of oil in the entire region, very, very obviously. Alternatively, though, what success could look like in Iran to the United States is boosting Donald Trump's approval ratings, being able to use that temporary boost to pass through a lot of weird, fucked up laws through Congress, which will probably happen, and then making defense contractors money. And that'll boost the economy. So that would be success to Donald Trump. It doesn't matter if we win the war or lose the war. It doesn't matter if the war drags on for years and years and years. The only way in which it would matter if people don't like the war, it probably wouldn't affect Donald Trump's presidency. It would be like years, decades of the war dragging on, like the war on terror. And then that's somebody else's problem. That's not his problem. So it doesn't really matter. So the two options for us to think about as Americans are, does this end quickly or does it drag on? Now, Donald Trump's probably hoping it ends quickly because it's less of a mess to deal with. But if it drags on, I don't really think that's going to be a significant problem for him either, right? Because the war's never fought on our soil. Now, if somebody were to turn around and start fighting the war on our soil, that would change things. But that doesn't happen. So I think that's really the way to think about it. So when you think about, I don't think Iran is going to win, you have to really lay out what is your metric for winning, right? Because Iran either capitulates to the West and allows themselves to be overthrown and have the Shah put in place, just like the Shah dynasty from the past was all inherently Western-backed and very pro-Western corporation, or they don't. They hold out and they keep fighting. And, if they keep fighting, it's going to be a great loss of life. It's going to be greatly destabilizing, sure, but it still won't be as destabilizing as a quick peace, a quick end to the war with a Shah that's backed by the West in power. And we see that because we know what happened in Iran from 1953 to 1979. We saw how bad that was for Iranians when the United States was in power there last. So, what does it mean to win? Sometimes what it means to win is to be the underdog and play the long game, play the long and steady game. And I guess the United States was already trying to negotiate for ceasefire talks with Iran. Iran said no. So it looks like Iran's trying to do the long and steady game. And the way you fight a long and steady game against the United States is you wear us down. You wear down our resources. You wear down our public morale. You just wear us down. You just wait. It's a waiting game. And that's what Vietnam did. And that's what Korea did, right? So I think that's a good way to look at it. Cream pie communist. What is this? Is there like a new fetishizing? Is there like a new communist fetish happening? I mean, according to American Western men, that's liberation. So if somebody is commenting cream pie communist on my live streams, does that mean we've successfully been fetishized by Western men and we've won? Checkmate, liberals. It's the same thing as what the people are doing when they're like, oh, the Iranian women are so fucking hot. We're going to get to see them on OnlyFans now. And you're like, oh my God, what the fuck kind of a culture have we made here? Okay, they just banned Hezbollah in my country. Israel is going to take over. I'm so sorry. That's really, really, really crazy. I'm really, really sorry. Yeah, it's brutal. The greater Israel thing is really, really concerning. Is the part of your country that's going to get taken over, is it part of the greater Israel map? Yeah, I know, it's early. I couldn't sleep. Cream pie communist. South Lebanon, that's very, very scary. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very sorry to hear that. Do I think Russia and China will help Iran? China's non-interventionist. So no. Russia, maybe. North Korea, maybe. Why are I always live? Are the bills that high? You don't get paid for TikTok lives. You know that, right? I make like 12 cents a month for TikTok lives. No. I have a job and it's not social media. I do lives in the morning because I like talking to people about politics. And that's the whole reason I joined TikTok, was talk to people a lot about politics. That's my goal. My goal, I'm a Marxist-Leninist. My goal is to turn you into a Marxist-Leninist. That's my goal. So, no, I do this in addition to my regular job that pays my bills. Why are you always watching my lives? You don't even have a motive. If I'm on here and you're seeing me on here, that means you're on here. You don't get paid for it. Certainly. And you're not even trying to, you don't even have a noble cause. Why are you on here? Do you think they'll answer? Chat, do you think they'll answer? This is what people on Twitter too are like, you're terminally online. And I'm like, girl, I am on Twitter for like 40 minutes a day in 4 10-minute increments throughout the day at the most. This is not my job. My job is not to have 30,000 followers on Twitter. They don't understand that. They think that's like somehow a career. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you that I'm just yelling into the void the same way you are on the internet. But for some reason, more people pay attention when I do it. So we're doing the same thing, just people pay more attention to me. And that's really confusing to them, which I think is funny. You're forgiving your girlfriend for cheating. Any advice? Okay, as somebody who was a cheater, she's gonna cheat again. She's gonna do it again until she realizes she just actually doesn't want monogamy, and then she's gonna be like, oh shit, I was doing compulsory monogamy. I actually don't want that. And then she's just never gonna do monogamy again, and then she's gonna be happy. Yeah. So you better be, I would just be like, the only way we're gonna be together is if we're not in a monogamous relationship. Yeah, until I realized non-monogamy was a thing. You guys have to remember, I'm 40. I didn't understand non-monogamy was a thing. And I was like, why are people pretending to care about this? Nobody actually cares about this. It's not actually a big deal. And people were like, no, we care very much. Just you don't care. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just started telling people, like, oh, I don't like monogamy. I don't want to do that. And then everyone was like, that's fine. And I was like, really? Okay. So then I just started talking about it more. And then it was fine. Okay. Aspen said there's nothing wrong with being a socialist until you are anti-US. That's literally what socialism is. How are you a pro-USA socialist? These people are fucking dumb as box of rocks. These are the people you're getting political analysis from. That's crazy. That's a stupid person. That is a dumbass. That is a dumb... Yeah, a lot of cheaters just don't realize being polyamorous or non-monogamous is an option. They don't think that's an option. Putin actually, look, I'm sure if I lived in Russia, I'd have all sorts of complaints about Putin, right? People are allowed to critique their governments. People are allowed to not like their governments. The second biggest political party in Russia is Marxist. I would love for them to have a worker revolution and go full-blown commie again. That would be so cool. But Iran and Russia, Western socialists, right? We position Iran and Russia the same way, which is that we recognize those are not Marxist-Leninist countries. We recognize that they're not communist. We would love for them to have communist worker revolutions. Yes. But as they exist today, as countries doing capitalism or whatever, we recognize that they are not doing anything uniquely evil that other capitalist countries aren't doing. They're not. And in many ways, they are standing up to capitalist countries in a way that other people are not. They stand up to the United States. They defend smaller countries from the United States. So for us, judging them, right, for things that other countries are doing the same or far, 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 far worse is a politically motivated act. It's politically motivated just because the United States doesn't want anyone standing up to them. And that's a playing ground that we refuse to play on. I'm not doing that. So should you be afraid of Putin? If you don't live in Russia, literally very little about Putin will have anything to do with you unless Russia is defending you from the United States. And if you live in the United States, no. Everything has shown that Putin wants to negotiate with the West over and over and over and over again, and we don't do it. So, I mean, probably not. Even when you look at Ukraine, Putin tried to negotiate with Ukraine over and over and over and over again, and the West and the US over Ukraine. And we would not even talk to him. Nobody would even talk to him to negotiate. And the reason why he ultimately declared war is because NATO missiles had started encircling the capital of his country, and nobody would talk to him about it for like almost a decade. He was doing all this negotiation attempts for almost a decade, and he was like, we have to accept it. We're going to take this as a declaration of war if you don't talk to us about what the fuck is going on and why you were encircling our capital with NATO missiles. And nobody talked to him. So he was like, okay, fine, I guess we're going to war. So even that took 10 years of steady negotiation attempts and him being like, we will have no choice but to view this as an act of war. Right? Girl, you can't. Well, read a book and start canning. Nobody cares what you can't do. It's time to start canning. Get educated on things. This is like, and I'm going to tell you guys this right now. A lot, like, if you have the same foreign policy opinions as the United States government, you are not left-wing in any capacity. If you hate the same countries the United States government does, I always tell the people this, you cannot hate the same people the United States government does leftistly. Two things can be true at once, but they're not. But they're not. And if you are not acknowledging that your entire political framework is shaped by the country you live in, that happens to be, if you're an American, the largest global superpower on the planet, you are frankly not intelligent enough to have any political analysis. If you cannot unpack the most obvious, clear example of bias, of institutional bias with the schools that you were educated in, even if you have a college degree, if it comes from the United States, of media bias, all of these things, if you can't do it for yourself, you can't do it for anybody else. You need to just accept the fact that you're not capable of having a political analysis at that juncture. And I think that's really hard for a lot of you guys, especially if you're a Westerner, because you feel so entitled to your opinions. As a Westerner, we're taught your opinions are so important. You are so special. Your opinions are so important. You get to have an opinion about everything. That's the whole basis of Western, like, pop media culture, certainly. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm saying what everybody's thinking. Reality TV, your special, unique opinion is most important. Social media, right? But if your opinion, if you can't even unpack the bias in your own opinion, how are you going to do it for anything else happening in the world? You're not going to be able to, right? What's actually going on, is the same thing that has been going on since 1953 in Iran. So the way Iran's political structure historically has worked is like this. They had a king, like a monarch. And then they started introducing reforms in the early 1900s that were more like a parliament is added, a prime minister is added. And from this point, the prime minister started to have more power in Iran than the king. The king's power became very, very diminished. But, this was a process, right, over time. So in the 1930s, though, the king wanted to expand. Iran has oil. All right, also important. The king wanted to expand the influence of Iran to the West. And this is when he still had a pretty significant amount of power going on. This is 1930s. And so he started aggressively courting the West for oil deals. And he started doing a bunch of weird fuck-ass shit, too. Like, he made it illegal to wear traditional Iranian clothing and forced everybody to wear Western clothing. And, like, to the extent that women were being, like, forcefully undressed by police officers in the street for covering up too much with traditional clothing. And, like, it was actually really, really fucked up. You see all those pictures where people are like, Iran before the Islamic Revolution was so liberated. Women were in miniskirts. And that just tells you, like, everything you need to know about, like, Western fuck-ass opinions about, like, what it means to be a woman. Like, show your skin, you stupid fucking woman. We liberated you, right? But no, these women many of them were forced in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, up to the 60s to undress. They forcefully normalized Western clothing on these women, and they undressed them in the street. They forcefully unveiled them in the street. And to the extent that women wouldn't go out of the house, women started trying to veil, but like hide it with big hats. Like, it was their culture being taken from them, and they felt very, very uncomfortable with that. So whatever. So he did this, the king, to court Western interests. And people didn't like it. Obviously was not very popular. So in 1953, Iran actually elected in a prime minister who was a socialist. And his name was Mossadegh. And Mossadegh was like, I'm going to nationalize the oil, right? I'm going to nationalize the oil. Fuck this king shit going on, trying to export the one source of wealth we have to American corporations to make himself richer and make basically these American, and not just American, British too. BP oil is the biggest culprit in this, so British too. European in general. European oil companies. He's like, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to nationalize the oil. The United States led a coup and overthrew Mossadegh. The CIA worked with MI6 and they had a coup and they overthrew Mossadegh. So after this happened, they were like, hey, king system, the Pahlavi dynasty of the Shahs. Hey, king system, we're just going to give you a bunch of power. You're in charge of Iran now, and we'll help you. So basically, from there, the U.S. operated the king in Iran as a puppet dictator under U.S. backing. And it was not great. And I will say that in the 1960s, they stopped the forced Western clothing rules, but by that point, a lot of the damage had already been done. People were like, this is, I guess, how you dress. Like, that was the clothing that was being sold. Like, that was all. So, you no longer had to, but it already had been, Western culture had been so imposed on Iran. And during the Shah, the king's now Western-backed heightened rule with, like, more and more power, it was pretty brutal. People were very, very repressed. The country was operating as a puppet state of U.S. and European oil companies. It was bad. It was a bad scene for people there. And it erupted in 1979 when the Iranian people were like, we've had enough of the United States running our country. We want them gone. So the Iranian people had a revolution and expelled the Americans and the Shah, who was basically an American puppet, right? And by this point, it was a different Shah. There's the Pahlavi dynasty, so that's like a hereditary kingship passed down. So this was somebody different than the one in 1936. This was, but still, the Shah, the Pahlavi Shah dynasty. So they had the Iranian Revolution in 1979, and they expelled all of the Westerners from their land. And that is when they took over the American embassy there, and they kidnapped, took as hostages a bunch of the American government workers there. And they were like, we want the Americans out, and they held this became the Iranian hostage crisis for years. So this is kind of the situation that occurred. And after the revolution, they were trying to figure out who they would have be in charge. And it was the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah is ultimately who won. Now, some people will tell you that they had a chance of having communists be in charge, or the Ayatollah and the United States through the CIA secretly backed the Ayatollah so it wouldn't go communist. I've never seen that confirmed, but people will say that. So that is something you can see people say. If you ever see somebody saying that, maybe ask them for that info. I've never seen that, but that doesn't mean it's not real. That could be just something I haven't seen. And it does sound like something we would do in the United States. So that could make sense to me that the Ayatollah is actually U.S. backed as well, because we thought he was a better bet than having communists in charge there. But I can't confirm that. So, whatever the case, the Ayatollah was the person who ended up becoming in charge, right, of Iran. And it's not the current Ayatollah. It was we're one generation down, I think, on the Ayatollah situation. So the Iranian people were so mad at the Westerners for taking over their country for so long and being so horrible to them that they wanted to undo all the Westernization that occurred in Iran. So where the Shah had previously been like, you have to dress like Westerners. You can't wear a hijab anymore. You can't wear a veil. They did the opposite. They were like, you can't dress like a Western anymore. We're bringing back only our traditional cultural stuff. You have to wear a hijab. You have to wear a veil. You have to do all these things. And they started basically like re-Iranizing their country, right? And that's why we call it the Islamic Revolution. And the Ayatollah is obviously a religious leader, and that was part of that whole thing. So you have to understand that their current government, as highly religious as it is, as culturally, I was going to say monotheistic, but it is a religion, I guess, but monotheistic is the term, is culturally singular as it seems to be. That is a reaction to them trying to reclaim their culture after the West took it from them. So the government that developed under the Ayatollah system in Iran, it's not like they don't have democracy. They still have like prime ministers. They still have elected officials. And I want to say it's not like it was a it's horrible thing. Iran had some of the highest rates of like women in like college and women in tech and women in leadership. And Iran wasn't doing that bad for a long time. It was doing really well, actually. It was succeeding. And it was a theocracy, though. So some people didn't like that. Like, I would not enjoy living in a theocracy. This makes sense. And people were like, we don't fuck with this. Iran also still had a socialist movement of socialists and communists there who were like, this is not like a worker revolution. Like, we can do better than this. This is still a form of capitalism. So Iranians had their own internal critiques of their government. But at the end of the day, they're allowed to have that. That doesn't mean that we overthrow their government. That doesn't mean that the West is capable of liberating anybody. And that doesn't mean that their government is like this cartoonishly evil thing for most of the people living there. Now, what really started to develop that we saw was almost a generational divide. Older Iranians support their government a lot more because they remember what it was like when the United States was there. And they view their government under the Ayatollah as being liberation from Western oppression, from American oppression. Younger Iranians, though, who did not grow up under that condition, who do not know what it was like when the U.S. was in charge, they are more likely to not like their government. They are more likely to want a different government because they don't know the comparison, right? So this really led to a generational kind of split in a lot of politics in Iran and how people view their the C word. What are you fucking talking about? What's the C word? Fuck crazy. So it led to a generational split in how people viewed their government. So a lot of younger girls, actually, you might remember this on like 2020, like teenagers and young women started wanting to unveil and started this like unveiling movement on TikTok, actually, like 6 years ago, which did feel very CIA coded. But the CIA in the United States often do go after younger people to try to get them to create color revolutions in their country. And they were actually getting in fights with their mothers and their grandmothers who were like, you don't know what it means to want to dress Western. Like, we get it. You go on the internet, you want to dress like all the Western teenagers, but like, you don't know what comes with that, basically. Like, you were trading your soul for blue jeans and mini skirts. Like, the Americans will crush you. They will kill you. They will destroy our whole country, like our whole way of life. Like, it's not worth it. So this led to these very like strong generational clashes, especially amongst the women in Iran. And it ultimately culminated with a young woman being basically arrested for violating the morality laws and not having her hair covered, and her dying in police custody. And it started this kind of outbreak in Iran of people wanting women's rights. And since then, Iran stopped enforcing the veil laws so much. There's still technically laws, but when you look at people in Iran now, women go out unveiled if they want it. It's not a big deal. So that actually did lead to some change there internally, domestically. So something else that started happening is Iran, because of this whole backstory of them being overrun by the Americans, they've always hated the United States. They fucking hate the United States. And because of that, they also fucking hate Israel. Because a lot of people think that the United States is like a puppet of Israel. No, I think that's like anti-Semitic. I think you just think that because you think the Jews control the world. No, Israel is a puppet state of the United States. Like, so don't get it twisted. That's what's really going on. So they hate Israel as well, because they view Israel correctly as an extension of the United States right in their backyard. So they have been fighting for Palestinian liberation for a long time. They've been fighting against Israel, and they're one of the most militant forces fighting against Israel in that region and against the United States in that region. So the United States hates them, obviously, and we want to go back to having the Shah system in place that we had before. So this guy that you'll see all over the news now, the Shah, he's from the same dynasty of the old Shahs who used to work for us. The Shahs have always been our guys. So when we say we want to put the king in charge there, that's like saying we want to go back to the conditions from 1953 to 1979 that were so bad and oppressive for Iranian people that it sparked the Iranian Revolution of 1979. We want to go back to us controlling Iran. And we want Israel to help us, because Israel's obviously like, Iran's fucking annoying because we want to take over all of the Middle East, and Iran won't let us, so we hate them too. So we're tag teaming this to try to fuck with Iran. So we obviously killed the Ayatollah, 90-year-old man. Of course, the United States is like, yeah, we fucking did. It's like, you killed a 90-year-old man. Like, okay, all right, good job, United States. We're all very fucking proud of you. I'm sure that was very difficult for you. So whatever. Not liking Israel, that's true, is not anti-Semitism, but thinking that Israel is in control of the United States, I mean, that's a little crazy. Come on. The United States is in control of Israel. The United States is in control of Israel. It's not the other way around. They're a client state of us, and the whole reason we prop them up is literally because we use them as a strategic military base in the Middle East. Zionism, evil. Fucked up evil. It's Nazism. You're building an ethno-state. Ethno-states are evil. That is evil. Obviously. But to say that Israel controls us, that's politically illiterate analysis. Yeah, basically that's what's going on in Iran. So the United States, Israel, and Europe want the Shah system to be back in place in Iran, because then we can control their oil, right? And then we get all the control of the oil, and all the people do whatever we want. The older people in Iran Most of them love their government because they view their government as saving them from us. They love their government. Younger people in Iran are mixed on the issue. Some younger people hate their government because they want to be able to live this very Western lifestyle they see in movies and film and media that looks appealing to them. Rock and roll and blue jeans, but updated for 2026 or whatever. Some younger people don't. Some younger people also fucking hate the United States, right? And they're like, fuck the United States. And also, it's worth noting, here's another thing we haven't talked about yet. The United States started aggressively hitting Iran with sanctions. Remember when I said Iran was doing really, really well? Well, that ended up stopping maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 years ago is when it really started to get bad. We started sanctioning the shit out of Iran, and it started to make their quality of life a lot more difficult. It became harder within the past few years alone to get food, water, inflation went sky high. And those of you who don't, a lot of people in the West try to minimize sanctions. Sanctions kill people. They literally fucking take, a UN sanction takes a year and a half on average off the lifespan of every single person in a country. An American sanction takes half a year on average off the lifespan of every person in the country affected. Sanctions kill people. This is not like just like, oh, and then we did a little economic boop. That's boring. No, we literally start doing it as an act of warfare to target people when we want to go to war with them. So we started aggressively hitting Iran with sanctions that really fucked up their quality of life. So Iranians, we're starting to get increasingly unhappy with their government because they couldn't afford to live, right? And I think it's unfair to say it was their government doing it, though. It was the United States government doing it. But especially younger Iranians don't know that. They don't understand, right? Like, if you think about how politically literate the average American is, the average Iranian is more politically literate than the average American, but still, you have your own bias you grow up in, and if you're mad at your government because you can't wear a miniskirt or whatever, which I think is fair. I think you should be able to wear a miniskirt if you want to wear a miniskirt. You might not listen, though, to your mom and your aunt and your grandma saying, like, the miniskirt is a trade-off for our autonomy and us being able to survive. And you also might not listen when you're like, but I can't survive. I can't afford the price of fucking eggs. And I can't wear a miniskirt. So you have this kind of internal conflict brewing. Now, there are socialists, communists, workers in Iran who are like, hey, this could be an opportunity to turn this into a worker revolution. Like, let's get that communist country we didn't. Like, this all started with Mossadegh, a socialist in 1953, trying to do light, honestly, land reform here, oil reform or whatever. Let's do that. Let's carry on the spirit of that. So you will see communists and socialists in Iran who want to fight against the current government and have a worker revolution. Obviously, we as Marxist-Leninists would support that. That's fine. What we don't support is the United States and Israel trying to overthrow the government of Iran. And we recognize additionally that everything that Westerners critique Iran for today is the result of Western policy there yesterday. And we think that's really fucked up and unfair and hypocritical. And we also recognize that the United States spreads a lot of lies about Iran, right? A lot of lies. You saw those things. There was like 50,000 protesters were killed. People did die. It was like 3,000 people died in those protests, and that was bad. But a lot of them were instigated by Israel, by the United States. Not everybody, but we took credit for instigating and pushing those protests. And that is also how we do this when we do this. A lot of people think that if you say, like, these protests are Israel, these protests are the United States doing it, that means there's not a single Iranian on the ground there. That's not true. We know that there are actual Iranians on the ground there, too. That's how these protests work, is that they're instigated, and the United States does this everywhere. We instigate them, we create them, we spread disinformation, we spread misinformation, we arrange them, and then our goal is actually to get actual people from that country to show up, and that does happen. And then, of course, there's also socialists who see this happening, and they're like, we can use this energy, we can harness this energy and try to have a worker revolution. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Marxist-Leninists, the idea is not that Marxist-Leninists start a revolution. It's that you wait for a flashpoint in history where a revolution occurs and you attempt to steer it afterwards into a worker government so you don't end up with like fascism or some fucked up shit instead. That's the Marxist-Leninist approach. So Marxist-Leninists are doing the Marxist-Leninist thing where they're like, whoa, something's happening. Let's try to harness this now and make sure it goes in a good direction, not a bad direction. So all of these things are happening in Iran right now. Ultimately, though, as an American, you are never going to catch me saying that my government should be involved in overthrowing any other country's government. That's just, especially not Iran, fucking politically illiterate. All Iran wants is to be left the fuck alone by us, right? So I'm also not going to judge how somebody responds to me doing fucked up things to them, right? If I hit your car intentionally with my car and then I start laughing and then you get out of the car and you punch me in the face, I'm not going to judge you for punching me in the face, right? That's what we did. The United States has been hitting Iran with our car for fucking decades, right? So I'm not going to judge how they respond to that. It's probably a very, very difficult position. To say that everybody in Iran has one political outlook on this subject on any direction is wrong, because people everywhere are politically multifaceted and complex, and they have different levels of class consciousness. They have different relationships to capital. They have different values. That's how it is everywhere. So that's it. People in Iran are not free now. You cannot have freedom under, it's not even a crazy thing. It's like a child. It's like asking a child to tell you about their day. And that's the problem. When you talk to most Westerners about politics, they have a childlike view of the world. They are extremely politically illiterate. They think in binary terms of things. They have no fucking clue what's going on. And then they're treating it like team sports. Somebody they like said something, so then they're just like parrot back the childlike version of whatever the person they like said, right? Rather than doing analysis. So that's what's going on. All right, so I'll look at the chat. Where did that 50,000 number come from? You heard in your politics. It literally came from Western NGOs, U.S. paid for by the government groups making it up, or Israel making it up. Those are the only places reporting that number. Let's talk about Venezuela has been an oil fallback after the Strait of Hormuz closed. And again, yeah, this is true. So Venezuela was strategically first in this campaign for a number of reasons. So one of the things Iran did is they closed off the Strait of Hormuz, which is where the oil leaves Iran. They're like, no, we're done. None of that for you. So now a bunch of countries are going to Venezuela for oil. Well, think about this. Like, you had to come for Venezuela first, because Venezuela would have politically been more allied with Iran, right, in this situation. They used to be in OPEC together, like oil producing economies, countries. They would have supported each other. And that would have been bad for Western powers who lost their access to Iranian oil. So Venezuela, in many ways, was the linchpin. And when they pulled it out, everything started to fall apart, because Venezuela was also supplying Cuba with oil, right? So they did this intentionally and on purpose. It started that way on purpose, right? They did this on purpose. Why didn't it show me perseverance anymore? I have no idea what's going on with my fucking TikTok account. It's so stupid. My whole TikTok's fucked ever since the purchase. Iranians are not free under the Islamic regime either. So Americans aren't free. Nobody's fucking free. What does that mean to be free? And you guys, this is what I mean when you have the politically, I'm not trying to single you out. I'm so sorry. But you're politically illiterate. It's like talking to a toddler. Like, what do these words mean? Freedom, democracy. Like, you're literally just saying random fucking buzzwords that don't mean anything. It's a totally fucking useless word. What is freedom? If you talk to an American, freedom is the freedom to say mean things about your government. If you talk to somebody in China, they're going to tell you the freedom to actually change what you don't like about your government. When you talk to somebody in a place that's been aggressively destabilized by the United States, they're going to talk about the freedom to not be bombed by the United States. So when you're like, Iran's not free, it's like, okay, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I know it's not just you, and it's not your fault. But you sound silly. You sound like a child. What does that mean? You know? They were free not to be bombed by the United States up until fucking a week ago, 3 days ago, whatever the fuck, right? That feels more free to me. If I got bombs dropping from the sky on my house, I'm going to feel like I was a lot more free before then. Yeah, freedom is a cereal box slogan. Exactly. Free to wear jeans and mini skirts, right? And you're like, while getting bombed. Okay, though Western clothing in Iran back then is not a natural occurrence. Can you explain? No, it's definitely not. No, that was forced. And that was when I look at pictures of women in Iran between 1936 and 1979 wearing like revealing clothing, it feels like I'm watching sexual assault. And I'm not trying to be dramatic when I say that, because you do not know which of those women chose that, and which of those women was literally held at gunpoint by police officers, forcefully undressing them in public for decades until they just gave in. Like, women were terrorized by these laws. They were literally forced to go out, in their minds, naked. Like, imagine a law was passed today in the West, right, that says you legally have to go outside in a thong bikini every time you leave the house. That is how this felt to a lot of these women. And it was horrible. Women would just like not go outside because they're like, I can't do that. I'm just not going to go outside. And it took decades for Iran to forcefully normalize this. It was a massive issue for women in Iran. So no, yeah, that was not natural. That was forced by one of the Shahs. The 1936, well, it started in the 1920s. It started with men, actually, but men weren't forced to undress. Obviously, they were forced to wear Western clothes for men, which weren't as naked. But that started, I think, in 1927 was the first law, maybe? In 1928, more laws got passed. By 1936, the laws were in full effect. The forced Western clothing laws. Yeah, that made people in Iran dress like Westerners against their will. It's really hard to, this is why we do Twitch. It's really hard to share sources on TikTok. But if you look up Pahlavi, it's the Pahlavi dynasty, Pahlavi. I hope I said that correctly. Pahlavi dynasty clothing laws, and if you look up 1936 as the year, that's the year most of them were in effect, you'll find info on this. You'll be able to find info on this. Yeah, it's forced. Oh no, it's forced. So that's when people are like, look at how free Iran used to be. And they show pictures of those women in fucking miniskirts and shit. And then you see all these creepy ass MAGA dudes on the internet like, Iranian women are so hot. I'm so glad we're liberating them. Ugh. You're like, okay, yeah, it's because Western men are just like weird little fucking freaks about Iran for some reason. And they, I have no, like, it's white guys being fucking weird about women of color. Literally. It's white guys fetishizing women of color in some weird fucking way. It's the same thing. Yeah. And now Iranian women are forced to wear hijabs and get arrested if they don't. Well, again, you have to understand that as a reaction against what we did to them. Right? They wouldn't be in that position. And that's the whole concept of political blowback. The things the United States government does have consequences around the world. And most Westerners don't want to draw cause and effect. They don't want to piece together a story. They don't want to understand why the world is the way it is. They certainly don't want to take accountability for it. But the reality is that the women of Iran had their own protests about that a couple of years ago. And what ended up happening is they stopped enforcing those laws. So those laws aren't enforced so much anymore. So when you look at recent video footage from Iran, you see people going around unveiled if they want, right? And that's the thing. If people have critiques of their government, that's on them to solve. That's on them. They can protest. They can do all these things that they want. That's on them. And it's going to be always a struggle, right? Yes. No problem anybody has with their government is going to be solved by the United States fucking bombing everybody. By the United States and Israel bombing children at a school. In no situation is that going to be solved by that. And also, to believe that that's the United States motive, I'm sorry, you're like crayon eating level ding dong. You think the United States cares about freedom of women in Iran? We don't care about fucking freedom of women at home. These people are out here yelling, your body, my choice. You think they want to liberate women in Iran? Like, what? These people are out here making abortion illegal. What do you think they're going to do for the women of Iran, who have some of the highest rates of women in STEM and women in technical fields and women in college out of anywhere in the world? What's our president, grab him by the pussy, Donald Trump, going to do to liberate the women of Iran? He's a little pedophile. Right? Like, the guy is sexually attracted to children. How is he going to liberate the women of Iran? Like, what? How does that make sense? What is that? That's crazy. And Khamenei, to talk about us being like, yeah, that's right, we killed that evil fuck. He was 86 years old. He's an old man. The idea, and the reason why it's important to make it all about Khamenei is because it makes it look like he's an evil dictator and not just that, like, Iran has a different culture and government than us, in part created by us meddling there. It's like, now look what happened. Yeah, okay. Khamenei, you killed a 90-year-old fucking man. Congratulations. What happens next? Well, the government still exists because he wasn't an evil singular dictator running everything. It's because there's a whole government there. They just replaced him with the next guy. And this is like what's crazy, you know? It's just insane. By the logic of not interfering with other governments, we shouldn't have helped overthrow Hitler. Well, Hitler was actually invading other countries. Iran has not invaded other countries. And also worth noting, the United States did not want to stop Hitler. We actually said no. The USSR tried to get us to team up to stop Hitler together for years. And us and Britain and France were like, fuck you, you communists. No, we're fine with Hitler. And the only reason the United States even got involved is because Hitler finally got cocky and came for Britain. And then we entered with the Lend-Lease program for Britain because we were contractually obligated to allies, and then Japan fucking bombed Pearl Harbor, and then we were like, well, I guess we're in it. We didn't even want to. So we're not doing things out of the kindness of our heart because we think it's moral or ethical. You know nothing. Cunty Ho says, I know nothing. Cunty Ho, tell me one thing I've said that's wrong. And this is what I mean. These people are stupid. And here's the thing. I know nothing I've told you is incorrect. Like, I know that, right? And that's what is wild. Scroll up. I can't, babe. There's too many people in here. If you want me to say it again. Say it again. Type it again. Little type. Misinformed. See, and this is what I'm talking about. People are really stupid. People are really fucking stupid. And a lot of them are very loud on the internet. Okay? And you guys need to know that. Literally, nothing I'm telling you is even a little bit debated by anybody. And this is what I mean when I started the live, if you were here, where it's like, you can give the most milquetoast, normal left-wing political opinion in like 95% of the countries on the planet. And if you give them, a Westerner is going to be like, oh, you're a crazy person who made that up. Which is just fucking embarrassing. It's just fucking embarrassing. You know, I get secondhand embarrassment for these people because it's a parody. It's a parody. American stupidity in particular is a parody of itself, but we're exporting our stupidity. Sometimes I talk to people and they're like, well, I'm not American, so what now? And I'm like, babe, I don't think you get it. The FBI works internally. The CIA is for you. The CIA is not for Americans. The CIA creates propaganda for the rest of the world. FBI creates propaganda for Americans. That's literally the division of labor. Our whole CIA exists to convince you of our worldview. The FBI works on us. COINTELPRO, that was FBI. That works here at home. CIA is for you guys. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, yeah, a great example of the USSR trying to get the United States to join in with them over and over and over again to fight to fight Nazi Germany. Us saying no, and then the USSR going to Nazi Germany and saying, okay, we need an agreement to not attack each other. And Westerners are so fucking stupid that we like, it was an alliance. A non-aggression pact is not a fucking alliance, you dumbasses. And this is like where it's exhausting. You're just like, are you committed to being stupid? And this is what I don't understand. Why are you so invested in wanting to be stupid and wrong? Because you have to put in work. You have to literally look at history and willfully misinterpret it in a stupid and wrong way when you do this stuff. And Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is a great example of that. I'm like, you literally have to be like, how do I read this in the stupidest way possible? And that's what people are doing. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And school said alliance, yeah. Chili, and then you look at them, chili dog. No, you're the what? And it's like, okay, well, what did I say that was wrong? Tell me one thing you think that I said that was incorrect. And again, people are like, oh, I know so much, but I don't know that much. This is a very normal milquetoast left-wing political opinion, especially for anyone not in a Western country. Right? My politics, out in the global South, my politics are normal. My politics are very normal in the global South. They're not even, everybody in the global South is like, yes, duh, and what? Right? I usually go to Twitch at like 9:30. I started way early, so I don't know if I'll take a break or what. I'm much more blunt. I have, my patience is lower. That is true in Enigma, yeah. Yeah, and the thing, somebody was like, this is stuff even the West acknowledges, and this is what I mean. I'll tell you things the CIA will post on their own fucking .gov website they have done, and you'll be like, no, what? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, like what? And it's crazy. And then, so then you ask and you're like where, what's wrong? Tell me what was wrong. Nobody can say it. No, I mean, did that person ever say what they, like, what do you think is wrong that I've said? Yes. So Poison Apple Society, correct. So by the 1960s, they basically undid those laws and were like, you can wear whatever you want. But by that point, the damage had been done. Like, look, all the clothing stores around you are selling Western clothes. Generations, you've grown up thinking Western clothes are normal, right? So that's why it's a real generational divide that happened. But here's the thing. Going to Twitch, where we have like our group of people who already want to learn, is really great. And I love that. But these are the people who need to hear it. And that's why I do this, right? That's why I do this. The people on here are the people who need to fucking hear it. And I might be the first person who's ever told them these things. But I won't be the last person, because this is just facts. This is just facts. And this is what it was like talking to people about Palestine in the early 2000s. And I need you to know that. The same conversation about North Korea, about Iran, about Russia. It was like that talking to people about Palestine. For years, for decades, it was like that. So that's why we do this. You keep it up because eventually people figure it out. And it's important. Are Russia and China the global south? I would not consider Russia or China the global south. No. China used to be considered the global south, but now we use the term global south more to communicate. Maybe China is the global south, actually. I don't know. I would need somebody more familiar with the terminology. Russia's not. But usually we now use it as a term to communicate people who have been heavily exploited by Europe and the United States. So China, negligible. Russia, no. Let's see, here we go. Bella Lala. Don't listen to any of this girl's opinions, please. And this is what I'll tell you. First of all, nothing I'm telling you is an opinion. I mean, when I tell you an opinion, I say it first. You guys should follow me now. I'll say, everything I just told you is a fact. Here is an opinion now. I'm telling you an opinion because I want you to know the difference. Nothing I've told you anywhere and what I've said since I've gotten on the internet this morning has been an opinion. These are facts. And you guys can't tell the difference between a fact and a take. You think everything's a take, an opinion. And you don't know what a fact is. I've not told you any opinions. I've told you literal facts that you can verify and look up. Don't listen to any of these girls' opinions. I'm not a girl. I'm non-binary. If you can't be bothered to know the gender of the person you're talking about, how is anybody supposed to believe you even know what I'm saying about anything? That you know what I'm talking about politically, that you understand my political perspective, that you understand the content of the content I put out. You don't even know my fucking pronouns. You don't know my gender, and that's right there public on my page. Why am I supposed to think you know what I've said in videos? Why do you think I'm supposed to believe that you understand what I've shared on the internet about politics or history or geopolitics or current events? You can't even get the pronouns right, and that's right there at the top of the fucking page. How am I supposed to believe that you're qualified enough to do a book report style analysis of the videos on the page? Do you see what I mean? You couldn't do the obvious part. Why does your gender or pronouns have to do with facts? I mean, facts or facts. Facts are facts, I guess is what you're saying. Because if you can't figure out what pronouns to use for a person and they've put them at the top of their page, you probably don't know what their politics are. The politics is hard. You gotta listen to them talk about it for a while. You gotta piece it together. You gotta really understand it. The pronouns is like 2 fucking words at the top of the page. If you can't get to this, if you're not qualified enough to understand this about a person, why is anybody supposed to think you're qualified enough to know this about a person? That's goofy. That's goofy as fuck. All you've told me is that you're illiterate and don't pay attention to shit. And I get getting someone's pronouns wrong, right? That's totally fine. We make mistakes sometimes. That's totally fine. I present very feminine right now at this stage of my life. That's totally fine to mess that up. I get it. But then to come around and then want to, in some way, pretend like you have a political analysis on anything I've told you, babe, you outed yourself as not knowing. You don't know shit. You don't know shit about what I think. You don't know shit about me. You don't know shit about what I'm telling you. You don't know shit about what I think or say. So you've outed yourself as being somebody nobody can trust on the topic of Madeline Pendleton. You don't even know my fucking pronouns. And it's an obvious one. Right? So that's why it matters. You're on your live stream for 2 seconds and you're gonna get mad so easily. I mean, yeah, it's kind of. I mean, look. Here's the thing. First of all, this isn't angry. Someone being annoyed with you, that's not mad. Like, you don't know what it looks like. And again, you don't know me. You don't know my emotional range, my capacity for anything. But I think that a lot of people in the West in particular, when I tell you, you don't know anything about politics. You look at somebody you like, tell you something, and you just go with that because that's easier than looking yourself. You turn it into this like weird pop culture thing, politics. And that is why you have a bad life. And that's why you have a bad life. And it's not your fault because you do have relatively low political power, right? As an average everyday person. But when you trivialize politics, when you turn it into like a team sport thing, when you're all invested in fucking the Democratic Party and all this just like ding dong shit, I need you to understand that is why your life is bad. And the agency does not fully fall on you, but you need to make the correlation at least. You need to understand, right? That you being like, is Kamala Harris brat? Does Taylor Swift support ICE? That is part of the phenomenon of the infantilization of politics that you engage in that makes it so that you will never actually come to political power or have the capacity to enact political change if you don't change that mindset, right? And if you're young, politics can be frustrating and infuriating. You won't understand the weight of politics on your life until you are an adult who cannot afford to buy your own medication, until you are 70 years old and you can't afford to retire because you don't have any money saved, right? Until you are, unfortunately, maybe one of the growing statistics of hundreds of thousands of people becoming homeless in the United States. That's when it's really going to hit you hard. So, you know, this idea of trivializing politics to this team sport-like activity, it's not serving you. And like, you know, the pop culture personality thing about people talking about politics online, it can be educational if you're getting your info from the right place, certainly. There are some people who do great work in making political stuff accessible and easy to follow and easy to understand. But if you're not supplementing that with like actual study of geopolitics as well, you're probably not going to get that far. And that's sad but true. And I think that's a tool of power, right? You could say whatever you want politically as long as it's reduced to the equivalent of rooting for a fucking team during the Super Bowl. Right? And that's all they care about. Root for your favorite team. That's not an actual political analysis. So I would say if you are new to politics, the first thing you should try to do is stop thinking about things in binary terms. And that will be a good way for you to start to learn. Instead of trying to understand who's good and who's bad, ask yourself why things are the way they are about a topic. So if you're looking at Iran and you're like, I heard Iran was bad, but they're fighting Israel. Israel's also bad. Instead of trying to figure out who's good and bad in that situation, ask yourself, why are Iran and Israel fighting? Why are they fighting? And that will help you get more politically literate than anything in the world. You know, does that make sense? That's what's going to help you understand the world way better. I don't know who John Kirikow. I've heard people say this before. I've never seen it spelled. I'd have to look into who that is. I'm really bad with proper nouns. I don't know if you guys know that. I'm really bad at remembering proper nouns. Americans don't treat their politics seriously, not knowing how much their country affects the world. Exactly, Cal. Yes. And that is why the rest of the world hates us. The rest of the world knows more about American politics than Americans do most of the time. Because they have to. Because it affects them so much. Right? Americans are just like, Kamala Brad. I'm not 20 years old. I'm 40 years old. I also think a lot of people not understanding what I'm telling them is like projection in a lot of ways as well. People are like, well, I've looked into this subject for 20 minutes and I act like I'm an expert on it. So you must have looked into the subject for 20 minutes and must be acting like you're an expert on it as well. Not the case, babes. Not the case. And I've been trying to, well, I'm 39. My birthday is in August. I've been trying to think of this like way to formulate that also into like this thought, right? About how we like project our ignorance onto other people. But I also think that some of it has to do with people thinking I am younger than I am. So not understanding like, oh no, this is a subject I have dedicated years of my life to learning about. Or like when I talk about like 9/11 and the war on terror, it's like I was there. That's when I first got radicalized, right? These things, a lot of these things I've lived through or I've experienced or I was active doing anti-imperialist work during these experiences. And I think people just assume everybody's like them, right? People just assume everybody has the same approach to knowledge and information seeking that they do, which isn't true. Yeah, being good and on the right side to Americans is being a Democrat. Exactly. Exactly. And it's that's a morally bad position. And I need you guys to also know, being a Democrat anywhere in the rest of the world, that's the right wing party. That's their right wing party. Right? No, Jagoop, no, you cannot summarize anything to good and bad. If you summarize anything to good and bad, not anything, but a lot of things to good and bad, you've already failed. You've already failed. You already don't understand. Are you knowledgeable about communist left-wing organizations in the Middle East? I know of a few. I know a little bit, depending on the country, about what's going on. Even your right-wing British parents call Democrats right-wing. Exactly. And, like, as an American, like, I want you guys to, like, really understand this. Like, our Democratic Party will not promise us things that are guaranteed by the far-right extremist parties in even other capitalist countries. Other capitalist countries, their far-right governments grant them things like legally mandated paid time off work, like lower retirement ages, some form of government pension, for example, healthcare. Their far-right parties would not dream of taking those things away. Subsidized housing, things like that in many countries. So when you here are like, how dare you demand Democrats offer free health care? How dare you? That's unrealistic. That's the stupidest shit anybody's ever heard in their fucking lives. And that's why that's why Democrats don't. Because you tell them you don't need that. Right? Advocating for communism and dictatorship is crazy. And this is, like, again, childlike. Communism and a dictatorship. You don't know anything about the political structure of Marxist-Leninism. You don't know what that means. You don't even know what communism is. You don't know what communism is. You don't know what a dictatorship is. You don't know anything about the political structure of Marxist-Leninism. You don't know what that means. You don't even know what communism is. You don't know what communism is. You don't know what a dictatorship is. You don't know what capitalism is. Oh my god, this guy Jacob. Like, the CIA propaganda campaign won, but look, here's the thing. People might not understand what communism is or capitalism is, but Americans are starting to realize that what we have going on here is not sustainable. Like, they're like, wait a minute, things are getting real weird. And even conservatives, when you're like, yeah, in the 1950s, you could support a family on one income. Like, oh, you want a trad wife? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for that? In the 1950s, you could have a trad wife at home doing all your shit for you. You know why? Because you could support a family on one income. Can you support a family on just your income? Oh, no? You need your wife to work? Oh. Huh. Look at that. Like, these are things that even conservatives can piece together. Like, wait, things are changing. Things are different. Things are getting... But you have to speak to them in their language, right? You have to speak to them in language they understand, right? But people are starting to notice. So, look, my thing is that I think that the collapse of capitalism is inevitable. That's pretty fucking obvious. Everybody knows that. It's just going to keep getting worse. And then the only question is, what do you want to build when capitalism collapses? Do you want to go fascist? Do you want Mussolini? Do you want Hitler? Or do you want China? Pick one. I choose China. That's what I want. So I think that's really, like, how simple most Americans' processing of this is going to go. They might not know what capitalism is. They might not know what communism is. But if you tell them, hey, our current system is falling apart. Do you want to go Benito Mussolini or do you want to go China? Pick one. They're going to tell you China. That's what they're going to tell you. Right? If you think China is evil, you should never be talking to anybody about politics. That's, like, a crazy thought to have. That's insane. I don't even know what you could say about China is evil. See, and then see, like, Sammy Chow. Okay, Sammy Chow. So, like, watch. This is a good case study. And this is what I mean. These people, they don't know anything politically. Sammy Chow. What have I said that you think is incorrect? Name one thing I've said that you think is incorrect. They never answer. They won't answer. They'll just disappear. Oh, wait. I won't say anything until you tell me. One thing I've said that's wrong. Yeah, RCA, we don't fuck with them. We don't fuck with Trotskyists. China and Uyghurs. That's not wrong. Nothing I've said about China and Uyghurs is wrong. I'll tell you about that in a second. We want to see if this person has a chance to say something. We can talk about China and the Uyghurs. The Uyghur story is actually crazy. And we'll talk about it. But where's this person? I want to visit Xinjiang too. I'm trying to see when I go to China if I can go to Xinjiang and Dandong. Don't listen to this lady, y'all. Okay, again, so here you go. K Serena 2.0. Not a lady, first of all. Second of all, what have I ever said that you think is incorrect? Name one thing I've said that you think is incorrect. Sammy Joe, wait, you were just in here. You just said something. Tell me one thing you think is incorrect. It was the weekend. I don't post on the weekends usually. Everything. Okay, name one thing. I said Americans' unwillingness to dive into politics directly impacts their quality of life. Yes, I do believe that is correct. That's a personal assessment. Yes. Okay, so we're waiting. Remember, now we've had two people say, I'm wrong about everything. And I've said, okay, name one thing I've been wrong about, right? One person just hasn't replied, and the other person said everything. And I was like, right, you said that. So what else? Okay. Kay Serena, it's always a privilege Americans who love to dictate how other people should live. Okay, name one thing I've said that is wrong. You keep saying everything but. You said I was wrong, and then I said about what? And you said everything, and then I was like, name one thing. Name one thing. The reason is that I'm not wrong, and they can't find anything I've been wrong about. But what they don't like is when you say it all out loud like that, it sure does sound different than how they were thinking about it in their head. All your facts about North Korea wrong. Okay, which one? Name one. Name one. Name one fact about North Korea that's wrong. Name one. Just one simple statement I've said that is incorrect. Name it. Name one. That everything we know about it is propaganda. Okay, what? Name one thing then. Name one specific thing. Actually, I've said probably everything, because there are people who do know about North Korea. So that's not correct. So name one. Come on, one. You just did what? But that's not even what I said. You said that everything we know about it is propaganda. I said probably. So name one thing that you think you know about it that doesn't fit into that. That's not propaganda. No, but I think it's important. It's not about the person. And I need you guys to know that when we do this, it's not about the person I'm talking to. It's so you guys see. It's so you really understand. It's not about me and this person. It's about you guys. It's like a public flogging. It's so you guys know to not be dumb. They're the example for you guys, right? And what I'm hoping you guys get from this is to actually stop and think beyond a narrative and be like, what one specific thing are we talking about? We are going to do Twitch, yeah. Ironic. Okay, Sammy Joe, tell me one thing. Sammy Joe, we're waiting. They're running to ChatGPT, they are. But they don't even know what I've said, is the thing. They don't even know what I've said. What happened to that other person, too? There was the other person, they just disappeared. So there were two people. One, gone. The other, Sammy Joe. And this person is like, you're influencing people to critically think. This is what I'm really trying to get to, is that you need to critically think about things. K Serena. Oh, yeah, K Serena, thank you. Yeah, okay, K Serena, share one thing. Just do one. You already said everything. No, you didn't. Anything. Just say one thing. Say one statement I have said that's incorrect. And the funny thing is, if you guys know you're on my Twitch stream all the time, you can catch me saying things that are incorrect. People, like, what was the thing? I said Soviet realism as a painting style instead of socialist realism, right? As a painting style. And somebody was like, oh, it's socialist realism, not Soviet realism. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yes. if you know things, these are very, very normal experiences. This happens all the time. It's totally fine. But you don't know anything. You don't even know what you think I've said that's incorrect about anything. This is just embarrassing at this point. We know these are all widely known in public info. What? No, these all. What are these? What is all widely known in public info? Free Puerto Rico. It's always free Puerto Rico. Sammy Joe. Okay, so Sammy Joe can't say anything is what we're learning. Oh, I said people who flee our land. Many of them are. Yeah, that is actually true. So, and they will tell you that. Many of them are. Yeah. And so I can show you. Hold on. Let me see. This is why I don't like doing this on here. So, not flip camera. I just showed you my bed. Hold on. Background. I have to put it up as a green screen. It's really annoying showing you this. Okay, so you guys all know, obviously, Yeonmi Park. Everybody knows Yeonmi Park's a liar at this point, right? That one we don't have to do. We don't have to get into that one. But, this is a guy who wrote the book Camp 14. This is a guy who wrote the book Camp 14. He had to retract his story and apologize. You know why? Because other people from North Korea caught him lying. And then people in the West try to spin it. Like, well, no, his dad in North Korea released a video being like, I don't know why my son is lying about all this stuff. And everyone's like, it was a thinly veiled threat that the North Korean authorities were going to kill his dad. That was just one person who caught him lying. Other people who had lived in North Korea, who no longer lived in North Korea, who lived in other countries around the world, were like, this guy's lying. Nothing this guy's saying is true. Nobody's threatened to kill them. They lived in other countries. Multiple people came forward and were like, this man is a liar. So that's one example. Yeonmi Park, you guys already know Yeonmi Park's a liar, right? You guys know that. Right. Strange Tale of Yeonmi Park, diplomat story, all about how she's caught lying all the time. You guys know that according to the National Security Act in South Korea, it's illegal to say anything positive about the North there, or you'll get imprisoned. This was an 80s or 60 some odd year old man who got sentenced to prison for saying something nice about the North. So that already means you cannot tell the truth legally if you were in South Korea about the North, because you can go to prison. If the truth is not absolutely horrible, you can go to prison. So if you say anything nice, you can go to prison. So there's that. That already affects what you're hearing. And then this is a book actually written about this subject that talks about this one TV show that's a hugest culprit of it. Now On My Way to See You. They pay 2 days of work $2,000. And a lot of people from North Korea, especially when they enter the South, are heavily discriminated against. And they have a hard time finding work. So they get very desperate. So the guy who was interviewed for this, he says, but the North lives in extreme poverty. We starve and shiver. Just these testimonies won't keep you on the show. It's more difficult than keeping a job at Samsung or huge corporations. You're going to need more of an, I was so hungry I ate a human being. I gave birth to a baby, but because he's disabled, the government buried him alive. Only these kinds of testimonies get you a place on the show. I have a friend who got a call from Now On My Way to See You staff. The friend was caught 3 times trying to live in China, basically illegal immigration, and was caught by Chinese authorities each time. And the show found out, so they called and asked my friend if he could join the cast. We heard you were caught 3 times. All you have to do is tell us the story, they said. So my friend replied, I have no idea what other defectors are talking about on your show. I was caught 3 times and returned to North Korea, but I never have experienced what the defectors claim on your show. I don't know what country they're talking about. Then the show staff member said, sir, you can't say that kind of stuff, and added, don't worry, we will give you a script. All you have to do is read it out loud. So they do. Yeah. No, this is an actual book. This is not Loyal Citizens of Pyongyang is an independent documentary. No, this is an actual book. I can't pull it up, the full title and author on my phone because I'll lose the live, but let me see if I can do it on my computer. But that's not the only place you can find this information. If you look at Loyal Citizens of Pyongyang, there's 2 people from North Korea in that. 3 if you count the lawyer, but he's not from North Korea. He's a South Korean lawyer who talked to you about this process and why this happens all the time, right? So Yeonmi Park, Shinjonghyuk, they don't exist in a vacuum. They didn't happen out of nowhere, right? It's not like they're just bad people and they happen to be the 2 most famous North Korean defectors. No, they're part of this process. So, hold on, let me see. I bet it's on my resource doc, so you guys can learn more. Hold on. And also, I know I can tell when you talk about loyal citizens in Pyongyang that you came here from Danny, North Korea, and Aspen telling you that that's a propaganda film. That's not. That's an independent film. And also what's funny is that my resource document has over 100 hours of learning material on it, anchored around 6 books from the world's foremost historians and sociologists on this subject. And I know you haven't looked at it when you say shit like that, because the film's not a propaganda film. And I know that you don't know that that is one of over 100 hours of learning material available on the subject, right? I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the title of the book on my resource document. I thought there was just an earthquake, but the cat just jumped. I was like, oh, an earthquake just happened. I have to find it. Hold on. I didn't add this one, actually. This is why it's so much better to do things on Twitch instead of on TikTok, you know? It's like so hard to do things on here. I'm actually finding other academic texts on this that are really interesting too, now that I'm looking. But I want to find this exact book, so I'm going to pull it up just so I can easily see what this one's from. And search the quote, because I cropped it. This is like, I have all these, and this is the thing, I can like only see my screenshots that are like recent when I do this on TikTok. It's like ass on TikTok, so. Hold on. Here it is. So the book, oh fuck, I just lost the title. Hold on. Atrocity, Fabrication, and Its Consequences by A.B. Abrams is the book. Good morning, Virgo. I'm on early. Yes, this is the book. And you can find it. It's on archive.org for free. I just found it. Atrocity, Fabrication, and Its Consequences is the name of the book. It's from Clarity Press. Clarity Press does a lot of political publications, actually. They have a lot of good stuff. And the Korean War, that section is page 78 is where it starts. Okay? So you found it? Yeah. Yep. You found it in an archive? Yeah, I found it too. It's pretty good. And all of the sources and citations are included in this section as well. And so it's from pages 78 to 113. You found it? Good. Sorry. That's a problem. It's not fun looking for things on here, right? So the book is called Atrocity, Fabrication, and Its Consequences. And it's by A.B. Abrams. And basically, this chapter that talks all about Korea is pages 78 through 118. And it's in that text. Yeah. Can you repeat the claim from Escape from Camp 14? Yeah. Hold on, I'll get rid of this one. So I actually have... I can't, it's on my phone. This is a problem. I have a whole bunch of this info saved on my phone to show you. in screenshot format, because I know you guys like that because you won't read a book. But I can't get it while I'm on live. And that's why we run into the situation where I'm like, fuck, what's the best way for me to get you this info while I'm on TikTok live? So Camp 14, Shin Dong-hyuk actually was caught lying, right? So he came out with his book. It was a best-selling book. His book was actually used to lobby the UN to impose more sanctions on North Korea. That's how popular his book was. And North Korea actually responded and was like, hey, this guy's lying. And they interviewed his family. They interviewed his dad. And his dad was like, all the shit that my son said is wrong, whatever. So this video came out, and a bunch of people in the West were like, that's just propaganda. They're threatening him. They're saying they're going to kill his dad. Nobody said that, but whatever. That's just the crazed Western narrative that discovered from this. But what actually happened from this video is that other people from North Korea saw the video and recognized his dad. And they were like, I know this guy. I know his family. And they came forward and were like, he is lying. Yes, everything that this man is saying is lying. And those were not people who lived in North Korea. They were not threatened in any way. They were other North Korean defectors, right? Who were like, yeah, that guy's full of shit. He's a fucking liar. So multiple different people came forward and were like, this man is lying. And then his own book author was like, I actually thought he was lying too. And so then he came forward and he apologized. And then he changed his story and was like, oh, it was only kind of a lie. And then the other defectors were like, he is still lying. Like, this is not possible. Everything he's saying is not possible. It's not true. And he made up all sorts of weird stories. Now, it is true that he wasn't in prison. He did commit crimes. And he talks about his mom and his older brother being in prison as well for committing crimes. His mom and older brother were in prison because they murdered somebody. Like, and that's what the first woman who came forward was like, everything he's saying about his family's not true. His family fucking murdered somebody. His mom and his older brother murdered somebody. And then his dad was like, yeah, they murdered somebody. I have a new wife. I have a new family. They were crazy people. They murdered somebody. So all of the story that got developed was like really, really weird. And then his old boss was like, hey, he's claiming all of these injuries he got were from being tortured in a prison camp. And his boss was like, that's not true. He got these injuries on the job, at our job. I saw this injury. He like lost part of his finger in like a freak accident at work. Like, he wasn't tortured in a prison camp. And then other people who'd been in that same prison camp were like who no longer lived in North Korea, who were not tied to North Korea at all, had no fear of retribution, were like, yeah, none of this shit is real. This does not make sense at all. So he had to retract his story. So his book, no bueno, not good. Why are so many DPRK defectors murderers? I think they get desperate and they want to leave because they've committed crimes a lot. Oh Chong-song had just killed somebody. That's why he ran across the border, right? Yeah, I think that, I assume that's the other person you're referencing. There could be more people though. But he wasn't a murderer. His mom was a murderer. But I think people who get wrapped up with the legal system, right, are seeking a way out. And you can make a good living and a good life if you go to South Korea and you're on all these trash reality TV shows. Like, Now on My Way to See You is where most of these people get discovered. And I need you to know that's like Love Island. It's like a trash reality television show. It's like Jenny Jones. So when you guys are like, oh, you think all the people on the Maury Povich show are lying? It's like, girl, come on. Use your brain for 10 seconds. Now, does that mean there aren't people from North Korea who won't tell you their stories and truthfully, like normal fucking people? Of course there are. And they will tell you things that are hard. They will tell you that they experienced poverty. They will tell you that the Arduous March, the famine of the 90s was horrible. Some of them might tell you they just didn't fucking vibe with it, man. Like, people move for all sorts of reasons. Those are totally normal. But those aren't the stories you guys are looking at, right? You guys are looking at the craziest fucking shit on the planet and being like, they eat babies. And you're like, what? What? Because of the Maury Povich guy? Like, that's crazy, right? So, Tony Tortelloni's in the chat. Hi, good morning. See, and when I looked up a source, we lost 100 people from the chat. Looking up sources is boring. People go away because it takes too long on here. No attention span. Okay, so that one, yes, I was correct. I said something, and it is correct. But this is, they don't, we already talked about Iran, but we can talk more about Iran if you guys want. It's 8:22. I should start to get ready. But yeah, I don't know. Did they say anything else? Oh, we were talking about the Uyghurs. Yeah, we already talked about Iran. We did a whole Iran. Yeah, I did. I actually did this because, I don't know. Do you guys know about, I'll show you this. Do you guys know about Tom's 1 hour photo in LA? Tom's 1 hour photo is like this iconic a 1-hour photo lab that's still open, but the guy, I think his name's Tom, yeah, he does all the photos himself. And he's like older, he's like in his 60s, and he hand painted all the backgrounds, but he started doing like 90s old school style photography, and he never stopped. So he still does these 90s old school style photography, and for $65 you can get a photo session with him. So me and my partner went and did a photo session. So I dyed my hair before I went to it, so it'd be cute. And we got a keychain, but this is us. It's cute, right? It's very, very cute. Okay. All right, so let's see. RCA. Oh yeah, Idolist. So they're a Trotskyist org. So I'm not a Trotskyist. I don't like Trotskyism. Trotskyism is a really specific ideology in Marxism that other Marxists don't like. We don't like that. I will say if you don't have a Marxist-Leninist org near you, a Trotskyist org is fine, but no, they're going to be really weird about China. They're going to be really weird. Anytime they talk about what we call AES, actually existing socialism, they don't support it. They're not going to support it. And that is really, really annoying, basically. So if you have a Marxist-Leninist org near you, I would say to join that instead. The 3 biggest national Marxist-Leninist orgs at the moment are CPUSA, PSL, and FRSO. I would say to look into one of those instead. And for those of you who are like, CPUSA is not Marxist-Leninist, I know, I used to be in it, I left. Now they're doing a thing. They had this whole internal thing, they restructured, they're doing it now. They're doing it now, we can recommend them again. Yay, CPUSA is back, baby. So yes, those 3 I would say are preferable to a Trotskyist org like RCA. But if you don't have them, I'm going to tell you, I would rather you be in a Trotskyist org than not be in an org at all. So, does that make sense? I don't say which org I'm in for non-electoral work because my org are like good people and I don't want them to get harassed by like idiot trash heap people from the internet. You know? They don't have time for that. They don't need to deal with that. I don't want them to worry about that. But for socialist electoralism on a Lenin model, I use Peace and Freedom Party. Yeah. RCI, is that the IWW offshoot? It's so hard for me to keep all the letters straight. Do I think the new Iranian leader will build or try to build news? Probably. I would if I was them. I don't know. They didn't agree to a ceasefire, to negotiate for a ceasefire, so probably yes. Okay, I'm gonna get ready. You're right. Thank you. Book club? What? Oh, is it a book club? Aw. Well, that's a good start. RCI is also Trots. Okay, thank you. RCI, thank you. Yeah, all the RCs. Okay, I'm so hungry though. Do I eat the rest of this cow soup my partner made? Good morning. Yeah, I have an entry-level political reading list in my link tree to get you started. A lot of it you can find online too. So, okay. Except all the RC are Trot except the British RCG. Okay, good. Okay, yeah. All right, I have to get dressed. Alexa, what's the weather today?
Currently, in Los Angeles, it's 62 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly sunny skies. You can expect more of the same today, with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 51 degrees.
73, okay. I know.
It's 62 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly sunny skies. You can expect more of the same today, with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 51 degrees.
73, okay. I know. My ex left them here when he moved out, and now I use them as alarms. And I will say, with the ADHD, it is very helpful. It's very helpful. Hold on. Okay. I'm going to wear this dress. I know. You know, what's she going to do? I take security culture very seriously. My org is very good at security culture. I take it very seriously. I mean, I wouldn't recommend getting Alexa just to have an alarm, but I do like having alarms. I need them for ADHD. Yeah, I am getting spied on. But if you know that, you know. I post all my political opinions on the internet already. Okay, I think I'm going to wear this, right? Is this cute today? Yeah, okay, hold. think this might be a children's dress. This is my first time putting it on. Feels like a children's dress. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna spy on with everything. I just had to accept it. Belt. Yeah, we'll do a belt. You're right. Belt. Cute. Okay, so then, chat. Which belt? This one's more 70s. Nobody's gonna be on the Twitch stream. There's nothing sexy about this outfit. Circles? Okay. The Twitch stream one. You like it when I turn into a whole person instead of just a head? Okay, cute. Okay, what's next? 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 No. Okay. All right. Closet Wi-Fi. I know, the closet Wi-Fi. I'm so sorry. Closet Wi-Fi. My whole butt's out. Separate room, yeah. It's technically a covered patio, but I turned it into a walk-in closet. Because it's like... sus. They're sus. Because it's like... sus. They're sus. Vegan mush. Yes, nice. Okay. All right. My butt hangs out all the time. I'm just fine. I just embrace it. I don't mind. It's doing its thing. It's doing it. Okay. Human Rights Watch. Yeah, Human Rights Watch is pretty booty. Pretty booty. Slash his top hat. I know, Iran's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking brutal. You know, poor Iran. They cannot catch a fucking break. A girl is crying because her vacation to Dubai. Why the fuck is she going to Dubai in the first place? These people are insane. Why would you fucking vacation to Dubai? I fell off, so now I'm on live every day. Oh, baby. I don't think I fell off. What are you talking about? I just had a video get like over 2 million views. What are you talking about fell off? They don't know. They don't know about the system. Fell off. What does that even mean? I wish I would fall off. I wish people would stop fucking talking about me all the time. It's so weird. Was MLK a CIA asset? No. Not to my knowledge. No, that would be weird. That wouldn't make sense. That would not be logically consistent. Who said that? Twitch stream. Yes, my Twitch streams are always political. Yes, yes. Twitch streams are always political. Okay, so where is the U.S. headed? To socialism or barbarism? Pick one. I choose socialism. Get on board. Get on board. We could. You guys vote on what we talk about. I assume people want to talk about Iran. I assume that. How do you stay sane? Because the trick to being sane is to become a Marxist. Because everything that happens, you always knew was going to happen. It was always going to happen. This is the inevitability of things. And you understand that when you become a Marxist. And so that allows you to understand what comes next. Everything that happens is inevitable. Yeah, our Twitch is democratic centralism. That is true. In action. But what if I think I'm going to do my braid. Yeah, Marxism made me an optimist too. If you become a Marxist, you will become more optimistic. Yes. Well, considering advertised peaceful protest in schools, unlike Malcolm. So, MLK didn't fully advocate for peaceful protest only. So I think that's more just like his stories getting whitewashed a lot, like every dead revolutionary. Right? Cute? Are we cute? Are we cute? Yes, we're cute. Okay, we're getting somewhere. What time is it? It's 8:34. So I do this before I start work. You are, we're not. Wait, what? The MLK we're taught in school is super water, exactly. The trick is not full on Marxism. The trick is full on Marxism. The trick is literally full on Marxism. The trick is full on Marxism. I'm an apparel designer. Apparel and accessory designer. That's my job. This is not my job. My TikTok's usually not monetized. If it is monetized, it's usually like $200 a month or something, like $300 a month. Like it's not, this is not my job. This is something I do for fun and because for a while it was a good way to educate people about politics, but then Americans got really stupid. So I don't know, people started getting dumber. So yeah, this is not my job. Twitch does pay me. So last month from Twitch I made $600. So I'm like, okay, so I can justify it. I couldn't really, justify it otherwise. But I like Twitch a lot, and that's good for me. So Twitch is the first time I've ever done social media content, like trying to monetize it, like ever in my life, and been like, I'm gonna try to monetize this. And I do like it a lot. So thank you guys who come over to Twitch and who subscribe. And we do it like a lot of people give subscriptions. Thank you, because that really does help me justify it. The reason is that live streaming is a time suck. Like I only do it 2 hours a day because I have work. But you guys know that's hardly anything for live streaming. Like most people are on it like for like 8 hours. So I was like, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna get time sucked into it. So I have to be able to monetize it to justify it. And I'm like saving to go up to China for my birthday, so that stuff's all really, really helpful. Yeah. Do I live alone? No, I live with my partner. Do I like my day job? Usually, sometimes. I love designing clothes. I've always loved designing clothes, but it's a bad year for the economy. It's been horrible, right? So I don't like doing it then. I don't like it in a bad year. Everybody likes their job when it's good and hates it when it's bad, I guess, right? So, breaking. I don't think my bangs look good. I kind of think I should grow out my bangs. Should I pin my bangs down? I guess, no? I don't know. Growing only bangs. Do you support NATO? No, we don't fuck with NATO. I'm a Marxist-Leninist. Of course I don't support NATO. It's a bad year economically. The economy's horrible. Are you kidding? The economy's only good if you're a rich guy or like, yeah. People don't want to buy clothes. People don't want to buy clothes. People don't have jobs. People don't have jobs. They can't buy clothes. The Dow Jones at 50K. It was the weekend. On Saturdays I hang out with my partner every single weekend. We have like a dedicated day. And on Sundays I do commie work. Commie work on Sundays, so. Yeah, I don't stream on the weekends, and I only kind of sometimes will post on the weekends if I'm waiting for somebody or something. This is the one I made. It's so good. Yeah, you just have a dedicated day. You should. It's nice. I mean, it's really nice. I like it. We have 2 dedicated nights and 1 dedicated day. So Tuesday nights are video game nights. Thursday nights are go out to dinner together nights, and Saturday days are like adventure. Like we do some sort of little adventure. So this weekend that just passed, we did the photo shoot, which was fun. 2 weekends ago, we did the perfume thing, which was also fun. So that was nice. Okay, Overwatch, okay. Yes, I've been vegan for 15 years. I'm a lifer. I'm not going to stop being vegan anytime soon. What's really going on in Iran? We already talked about so much. I'm trying to think if there's a way I can summarize it. USA always messes with Iran. The only way Iran keeps away the United States is by having a strong government. People inside Iran who are younger don't understand the relationship between the United States and their government and want a more Western government. Older people really want to keep their existing government. The United States wants to overthrow them so we can have cheap oil again and have the Shah put in place like he used to be. Israel wants to overthrow them because they've got their whole Greater Israel bullshit, and Iran's the only people stopping them basically in the region. And Yemen. Sorry, Yemen. And Yemen. Ooh. Makeup to my bag. Yeah, that's it. Bashar Assad actually a dictator? I wouldn't say that he was a dictator. He wasn't like Marxist Leninist or anything like that, but you know, I don't know. People didn't love him. People did not. It's not like people loved him. I don't know. Maybe the term dictator is honestly so fucking politicized to me now. I don't even know. I think it's a stupid word. I think it's a stupid word because what no government runs all off one person anyway. That's crazy. The working definition of a dictator appears to be just anybody who's a political enemy of the U.S. I want to go. I have a trip mapped out that goes to like 14 different cities in China. And so ideally, what I would do is fly into Xinjiang and then fly from there to like southeast China and then travel in like a little loop like this all the way up to Dandong. And you can't fly out of Dandong very easily, so it'd probably be like what Beijing is the closest airport that's big to Dandong to fly home. That would be my ideal trip, but I gotta figure it out. And I gotta see if I can save money. It's a lot of money. Is it good that the Ayatollah is gone? No, but also he's like a 90-year-old man. It's like leave it on the United States to be like, we fucking iced that grandpa. We're so tough. It's like he's fucking 90 years old. Jesus Christ. He didn't, you know what I mean? So no. And this is the thing about when Americans use the term dictator, they want you to think that like one strong decisive action is going to change everything somewhere. It's not. They have a full functioning government. There's fucking 90 million people living around. Like they just put the next guy in charge. That's like thinking if you kill Donald Trump, the entire U.S. government's going to collapse. Like we've had our leaders assassinated before. Did our entire government collapse? No. So it's just, it's weird. It's political theater. It's political theater. Okay. The Shangri-Lhasa train? Oh, okay. That's interesting. Maybe I'll think about that. Hold on. dip into Pyongyang. I wish. I can't. I only have an American passport, so I can never go to Pyongyang. It'd be so fun though. Oh. They're only, I think, open right now for Russia. They're just starting to reopen for tourism. But we on live stream read a Russian tour guide agent who went back for the first time in a long time, his account, and he was like, oh shit, like it's so cool. They've done all this cool stuff. And it was really cool getting to read it because he like knows a bunch of people there because he's worked there for so long. And he was like, damn, like in the time they were closed during COVID lockdowns, like they've grown so much, like it's so cool. So it's looking really, really fun and awesome and interesting, you know? Do I have faith in the American people? I mean, I have faith in Karl Marx. It's less about the American people. Eventually the situation's going to get so bad people don't have anything else to lose. I would prefer if people started getting interested in socialism sooner rather than later, right? Like how bad do you want it to get? And no, I don't worry that the American military are too powerful. And one of the reasons, okay, so this is like one of the hardest, not one of the hardest, this is a contradiction that exists within Marxism and capitalism, okay? Hold on. Sorry, I'm getting ready still. Hold on. We see that often soldiers will join in on revolutions. Like we saw that in Russia, right? Lenin said, do not turn your guns on each other, workers of the world, right? Turn your guns on the capitalists, the oligarchs who are forcing you to fight these wars. I mean, that doesn't mean that I support the American military, certainly. And I don't think that they should be let off the hook for the horrible things they do in other countries around the world. But I think that we do need to be reaching them and trying to radicalize them, you know? And I think they have the potential to be radicalized. And I think we need to recognize that and take that into account. Which is hard because it's like, how do you look at these people who've done horrible, horrible, horrible things in other countries, many of them, and talk to them like they're a normal person, you know? And that's a challenge. But a lot of these people themselves will be radicalized by their experiences there. And they will be like, yes, I've done horrible things. And that is why I learned how evil the U.S. government is, or things like that, which is, it's helpful. That helps a little bit more. But I don't know. It's a challenge. It's a contradiction for me that I need to work through. Especially in the United States uniquely, you know? So, I will say right now, I feel like we are in a class consciousness building stage. We are educating people about socialism. We're going to do lips. I'm not going to do lips here. It represents I was drunk at my friend's house. Do somewhere. Okay. You know what's something really funny about Americans? Not just Americans, I guess people on the internet, short form content brain rot people, is they'll be like, explain this. And you'll be like, oh, here's a book you can read about that. And they'll be like, no, I don't want to read the book, just explain it. And you'll be like, well, here's a really short summary of the book. And then they'll be like, but what about all of these questions I have? And then you're like, oh, you can read the book. All of that's answered in the book. And then they're just like, no. And you're like, did you want me to read the book out loud to you? Is that what you were aiming for? What's going on here? I think that's something really funny. I just saw some exchange going on in the comments that made me think about that. Why don't you take the time to learn how to pronounce any Chinese or Korean names? I don't know how to pronounce any name. American as well. Or I don't know how to pronounce anything. It's kind of like an issue in my life. Because I read everything. I don't do videos. So I don't realize I don't know how to pronounce things until I say them. And then I'm like, oh. So yeah, I that's just a thing. It's kind of like an issue in my life. Because I read everything. I don't do videos. So I don't realize I don't know how to pronounce things until I say them. And then I'm like, oh. So yeah, I that's just a thing about me. At a certain point, you need to choose a priority in your life, right? And I just had to let go of the pronouncing things in my life and recognize that's not really a priority to me. I read things. I don't listen to videos about them. That's not how I learn things. So out of all the hours in the day I have, I don't think perfecting my pronunciation in any language, including English, is a realistic one for me to devote. Out of all the hours in the day I have, I don't think perfecting my pronunciation in any language, including English, is a realistic one for me to devote time for. I don't think that that's going to have the most trade-off in my life, you know? And if you're a person, you're like, well, I find it disrespectful when you don't pronounce things in my native language correctly. That's fine. You are entitled to feel that way. It's not going to change anything. You know what I mean? I can't pronounce things in my native language correctly. So here we are. I don't have time. So that's not a priority, right? And as an American, I can tell you when other people speak my language and they mispronounce things, I'm just like, oh, it's not their first language. And I don't care. So if you are intentionally trying to do a gotcha on people for how they're pronouncing things when they're talking about concepts, I think that's weird. I think that's a weird motivation, personally. It's a weird thing to focus on. I think that's a strange thing to focus on. I don't focus on that. I'm like, even if you don't speak my language, great. I know what you're talking about. You're communicating to me. I understand the point. And I find that when you travel a lot, most people are like that too. When you travel a lot, you recognize, like, yeah, I learned like 6 hours of this language to be able to communicate the best I can while I'm in this place for a little bit, you know? So here we are. We're doing our best, and we're all speaking a language we only half speak to each other to get through the day. And I think that that's more realistic for how most people engage with language. So I think it's just like a weird internet gotcha when people are like, but you didn't pronounce this perfectly. And it's like, okay, so? And? I don't pronounce anything perfectly. Not really my priority. And look how much I know about the world. Probably because I'm not wasting my time trying to focus on pronouncing every word perfectly in every language on the planet, and I'm more interested in the concepts and how things play together, etc. You know? Oh, congrats, Twos. Yay. You know? Yeah, I don't know. And then people are, and it's like, well, pick and choose your battles, right? Pick and choose your battles. Pronunciation is not my battle. I did not pick that one. I did not pick that one. No, it's a 1970s vintage dress. I got it at a thrift store. Okay, we did it. We made an outfit. The main priorities in my life are Marxism, Marxist-Leninism, my partner, my dog, the worker revolution and the liberation of the working class, video games, like that, I think, on that order. Yeah, I think that's it. Fork found in kitchen. Partner reveal. I don't know. None of my partners like to be on the internet like that. Because people, I don't know if you guys notice, people are insane on here. My partners are all like real people. My partner and I just still play Civ. That's like all we play. We've been playing it since we were kids. Eep. Were my parents communists? No, my dad was an anarchist and my mom was a libertarian. My partner is not a Marxist-Leninist. My partner is, when I met them, they were kind of more of an anarchist, and I was like, I can fix you. But the reason I think that I was like, I can fix you is that two things. Their family is from the USSR. Their family's from Belarus. So when they were growing up, I am going to eat this now. They would like wear little like hammer and sickle furry hats and stuff. So I'm like, okay. That's interesting to me. And also, my partner does not like anything being too dogmatic. So they're like, well, I was like an anarchist, like, and I did all that. They did like all the Chicago protests and all that stuff, but they're like, yeah, I'm not too dogmatic at the end of the day, and they're kind of like a troll. They're kind of a contrarian. And I was like, well, Marxist-Leninism is like the least dogmatic ideology. The whole point of it is like, here's some basics, and then everything else you adapt to your conditions where you are. Like, you're gonna like it, trust me. So I haven't fully converted them, and I don't think they would ever call themselves anything, so I probably won't. But we're coming around a little bit. Why do you say partner, not boyfriend? Because we're both non-binary. My partner's non-binary. I don't have a boyfriend. I have 2 partners and they are both non-binary. Yeah. I got kicked out of the house a lot as a teenager. Yeah. But both of my partners are non-binary, so I don't know. People are weird about that. But the same way I'm non-binary and people are like, you're a girl. Right? And it's like, well, I look like this now, but I don't always look like this. Sometimes I have a shaved head and I look like a little boy, and also, even if I didn't, that's not, non-binary people don't owe you a specific presentation. They and them are 2 different people. Yes, in this situation, yes. We've been playing Civ 7. At first we were like, ugh, fuck it. And then we were just playing Civ 6, but now I've come around on Civ 7 and I like it. I wish I could combine certain things about Civ 6 and Civ 7 together though. So, I wish I could take all the culture stuff from Civ 6 and put it into Civ 7. Would you discuss with the creator Spontex? I don't know what that means. I'm so sorry. What political ideologies would you not date? I don't think I could date anybody who was very invested in the 2-party system. Like Democrat or Republican. I think you should give Civ 7 another try. It does pick up and it gets really good. Yes, I would shave my head again. Wait, did you see the ignorance of the uneducated libs in your non-ML partner? So, no, because they're kind of a troll. So they just troll everything. So they hate Democrats, they hate Republicans. They're not an anarchist. They are curious about the world. But more than that, they're just kind of a contrarian troll. So, it's not like they have serious, really strong political opinions but that are hard to respect. Their only serious political position is they are a socialist, they hate Democrats and Republicans, and they don't think anarchism works. And I'm like, okay, well, we can work with that. You know what I mean? Why don't you live in North Korea, comrade? Andy, 8010, girl, the blockade. Girl, do you not know about the blockade? Stephanie, oh, please be a communist. It's so cool, yeah. When I'm on, like, Hinge and stuff like that, if I see a comrade, I'm always like, oh, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. Girl, the blockade. Girl, they always do this. They're like, oh, you move there. And you're like, girl, the blockade. What are you talking about? What are you fucking saying to me right now? Crispy wonton. It's so good. I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. I don't watch people on here though. Also. Oh, how out was my butt? Did you see it? Was it super out? Just a little out. It's not so bad. I'm eating leftover cow soy for breakfast that my partner made. You don't like global warming. Why don't you move to the moon? So funny. Okay, so we have 30 minutes. I've been on live all morning because I woke up so early. I was really stressed this morning. Oh God, it's just so fucking hot. I nuked it. No, neither of my partners are vegan. And my last partner was vegan, and I really liked it. And my current partner I live with in LA was like, maybe I'll be vegan. And I was like, cool. And now I'm like, but they used to be vegan. So they're like cool about things. If I'm like, I don't want meat in my house, they're like, okay, you know, I get that, you know. I like this one. Is your veganism for political reasons? No, I think it's just like, is icky to me, you know. And now it's been 15 years. I don't see it changing for me anytime soon. Wait, my other partner's in New York. So I have a partner in LA and I have a partner in New York. But my partner in New York, sometimes it gets harder to see them. So when I'm on my financial shit really well, I'm like saving and no emergencies and stuff, I go see them for 1 week out of every month. And we've been together off and on for like 16 years or some shit. But when my finances are not as good, like a bad economy year, you know, I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. So like right now I haven't seen them in months, which is really, really hard for us both, obviously. But I adore them. Who will America attack after Iran? Well, I think they would love to do something in... They would love to do something in North Korea. The Epstein files were literally Trump's talking about in the Epstein files, in some of the emails, how he wants to do something in Iran and North Korea. So if he's coming for Iran, it's possible North Korea. It's also possible this might tie up too many of our resources, though. It's a prolonged a prolonged war in Iran. That might not, like, we might not have resources to go other places. You know? Turkey, probably. Oh yeah, Turkey. Yeah, it is Turkey. Yeah, that's right. They were talking about Turkey, which is crazy because usually we fuck with Turkey a little bit. Like Azerbaijan, Turkey, Israel, the United States. That's like our little, we got that little crew. It is true. I am having vegan breakfast, but it's not breakfast. It's cow soy from last night. I just really wanted it. Turkey is a NATO, yeah. Oh. I don't take anything, but I do eat a lot of nutritional yeast. Cow soy. It's like a Thai dish that usually has like a drumstick in it, but I got the soy rolls. You know, like the little rolls. Do you see that little roll thing right there? It's like the soy skin rolls, and I put like chili oil and stuff inside of it, and we cooked it like instead of the turkey leg and the cow soy. Sorry, I'm eating. As a Brit, it's really pissed you off. Why are you letting the USA use your bases and acting shocked? I mean, that's like what we do, though. That's literally the whole reason we prop up Israel military base, big military base. Marxist mukbang. That's the name of the dish, yeah. KHAO, yeah, something like that, yeah. That's, I get that, though. Cow soy, yeah, that makes sense. That's just my Valley Girl voice. Yeah. Big is. Okay. Why are you vegan? I don't know. Meat just grosses me out, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's just gross to me. It's been 15 years. I'm not going back. Why aren't my partners vegan anymore? I don't know. One of them was vegan. Both of them were actually vegan before I met them. Forever ago, and then they stopped being vegan, and then I met them. I didn't start as a vegetarian. Here's what I did. I made an evil index for myself of what I thought was the most evil and the least evil. And I thought beef and pork was the most evil, so I stopped eating beef and pork first because most evil. And then after I stopped eating beef and pork, then I cut out turkey and chicken. And then I was just down to fish and dairy. And then I cut out fish and dairy all at once. So it took a few years. Yeah, no, the U.S. has never been good allies to anybody. It's crazy. What about honey? I don't mind honey, but I also don't like honey. And I don't drink hot beverages, so honey doesn't really come up for me, ever. If that makes sense? It's just not, like, you know? I don't eat eggs. I would not eat an egg. Creepy. It's not my teeth. It's, oh, maybe it is my teeth. But I don't want to mess up my lipstick, so that's going to keep happening. So you're just going to have to use that. Yeah. So I don't mess up my lipstick. Calculus. I liked calculus. I was the youngest person in my school district to take calculus. It was fun. I liked it. No, I'm eating noodles. It's Ramadan. I don't know anything about religion. I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, I buy secondhand leather. I will buy secondhand leather. That is something I'll do. I don't buy new leather though. They're rice noodles. It's rice noodles. Yeah. Yep. But we didn't have enough broth for the leftovers, so it's just like noodles with no broth. It's just mixed in. A lot of my own clothes I design, yes. The dress I'm wearing today, though, is vintage. It's from the 70s. I got it at a thrift store. Sometimes I eat imitation meat, but sometimes it freaks me out. It depends. I work from home now. Yes, we used to work in the office, but we changed our office into our warehouse, and now creative team works from home. So the only time I don't work from home is when I do my warehouse days. Would I be vegan if food was more ethically farmed and distributed? I mean, at this point, non-vegan food just grosses me out. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I feel grossed out by it. So I don't think I'll ever stop being vegan because I have no desire, right? It just feels yucky to me. So, but I do like some fake meats, but not ones that seem too real. Sometimes if they seem too real, I do get freaked out. What would be my recommendations for going from vegetarian to vegan? Well, I would say you're already vegetarian, so I would say cut out individual things one at a time, if that makes sense. Like, cut out, like, milk, cut out egg, whatever, just one at a time for, like, a year each if you're having a hard time. And you'll slowly get there better over time. But I will say all the substitutions for dairy are so much better now than they used to be even 15 years ago when I started this. Like, vegan cheese is so fucking good now. That's crazy. Vegan cheese used to be horrible. So I think it'll be an easy transition for you. Yeah, vegan cheese got so good. Real communists eat meat. Well, I guess I'm a fake fucking communist then, huh? Yeah, new cheese melts. Vegan cheese melts now. It's crazy. None of the non-dairy milk actually tastes like milk. To be fair, I grew up drinking only whole milk. So anything that wasn't whole milk didn't taste like milk to me either. Why does the food you eat determine your politics? It doesn't for me. I just think meat's gross. I don't think it matters. It's just yucky to me. I don't want to do it. Podcast. We came out with one last week, and we're gonna come out with one today or tomorrow. We'll probably record it. Just psychologically, it's gross to me. Really yucky to me. I eat a lot of nutritional yeast usually, so the B12 I don't think is such an issue. I put nutritional yeast on everything. Do you believe the West has spread propaganda about North Korea? Yeah, that's not even, you would have to be a conspiracy theorist to not think that. We have stated anti-North Korean propaganda networks, like paid for by Congress to spread anti-North Korean propaganda. We know that. Stephanie, even when you stop eating nutritionally so much, food is fortified with B12, you're fine. Oh, that's good to know. Okay. One time I experienced psychosis, it was years ago, and I thought it was related to B12, but one of my friends who's really into health stuff looked it up and was like, it probably wasn't. And I was like, what the fuck was that then? That was crazy. I had this brief moment of like full-blown psychosis, and it was the only time it's ever happened, and it was years ago. I thought I lived in Las Vegas, and I thought I did nails for a living. I tried to get out of a moving car. I was like, I live here. It was so weird. But it never happened again. So I don't know. I don't know what that was. Yeah, something. Probably some sort of nutrient thing messing up my brain. Hi. Hello. You know? Definitely dehydration. I never drink water. And you know Vegas is so hot. You get so dehydrated when you're there if you're not from there. Yeah, it was a me from a different me, exactly. It was actually a sci-fi plot, not a nutritional issue. Vegas nails, not too far off. Oh. I love the off the strip part of Vegas though. Just the town of Vegas, I love it. Hydrate. Oh, Raina. Hi, Raina. How are you? The icon. Marxist angel, Raina. Our queen. I am 39. There's a town of... yeah, you know, like the off the strip. Like the regular, like, areas of Vegas, not on the strip. I love it. Coffee. Do I still think Kamala wouldn't have been any better? Yeah, yes. What? She literally was like, Donald Trump is soft on Iran and soft on the border. She's a fucking psycho. I don't know why you guys keep trying to rehabilitate the Democratic Party. It's insane to me. Because, like, girl, what have they done for you? Why? You're in an abusive relationship. It's so funny seeing people who don't like you stitch your videos of me teaching on private. Oh, do they really? That's so funny. What do they say about my teaching? That's crazy. We have fun on Twitch. They hate watching my Twitch streams. It was so funny. And it's me having the most milquetoast fucking socialist take ever. Like, China, good. Here's what Mark said about stages. It's so funny. AOC or Newsom? Neither. And neither. Oh, they like the teacher. They just don't like the teacher. Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. They don't even know why they don't like me. That's the thing. This is probably what it is, though. They were liberals, and liberals told them I was evil. So they're like, Madeline Pendleton is evil. And then they started realizing liberalism is a fucking failing ideology that doesn't fucking make sense. And now they're like, oh, I have to become a socialist immediately. And so now they're probably trying to learn and say all the same things I'm saying, right? But then they can't get over the fact that I was supposed to be evil. They can't make the connection that liberals told them I was evil just because I'm a socialist. And not even, I'm like the most normal milquetoast socialist. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm like, and this is what I always say too. Raina probably knows. But I'm like, you put me on TikTok, I'm like, holy shit, I'm a genius. You put me in a room of other Marxists, I'm like, you're about average here. It's just become a Marxist, guys. It's not that hard. Just become a Marxist. That's crazy. These people are crazy. They think Hassan is a radical. Yeah. Yeah, I am pro-2A. Yeah. I rep firing guns. Why do people say that Mao made people start... You know what it is? Actually, I do have a thing. I do have a little spiel about this I can say. Hold on. What's wrong with AOC? Girl. So much happening right now, and I got food in my mouth. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I got fish eating this. There's so much to respond to. Okay. I do think Mao got Okay. Now at AOC. Okay. What's wrong with AOC? AOC funded the Iron Dome. Psychotic. Also, she's not giving a fuck. She's a Democrat. She is in favor of the Democratic Party capitalist war machine. And you guys see that new chick too, Kat, who's like, I'm not like normal Democrats. I'm a cool Democrat. Yeah, AOCIA. Yeah, she's also affiliated with USAID, right? USAID. That's her. Okay. So you guys have to stop thinking there's going to be a good Democrat. There's never going to be a good Democrat. There's no such thing as a good Democrat. If they were a good Democrat, they wouldn't run as a Democrat. They wouldn't be a Democrat. All right? There's no good Democrat. If they are a Democrat, it is because they support what the Democratic Party stands for, which at the end of the day is capitalism, imperialism, bloodshed, and violence. That is what the Democratic Party stands for. And they will do all this psyop shit on you to try to trick you into thinking you actually are a good person if you support them. You're not. They fucking kill people. They kill people for money. They kill people for money. Right? AOC is one of them. She's not doing anything out of step with the Democratic Party. In fact, she actually, when she got into Congress, she originally was more free Palestine. And the Democrats knocked that out of her real fucking fast. You can see it by her voting record. At first she's like, yay, we hate Israel. And then she's like, I abstain. And then she's like, fund Israel. Like, you can see that, like, the Democrats they're not capable of being anything other than a Democrat. And a Democrat, at the end of the day, what a Democrat is, inside its heart and soul, is a bloodthirsty war machine to maximize profit. That's what it's there for. That is what it's there for. The difference between a Democrat and a Republican is the Democrats will let you be gay. That's it. They're like, oh, you're gay and you want to do violence and bloodshed in another country? We're totally fine with that. Go jump on in. Jump on in, girl boss, slay queen. That's it. They are not capable of promising you anything other than the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party is a capitalist, right-wing, fuck-face party. They're evil. They're evil people, okay? Bernie, evil fuck person. You know what it was like? And you guys think what TikTok did to me is bad? Do you know what it was like in 2016 trying to tell people Bernie Sanders was a Zionist? Oh. Woo. Yeah, it's same. And this is what I tell people too. You need to think about American government like this, okay? They have a product they're selling you. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. The product they are selling you is your life is bad, so 12 rich guys can own 16 yachts. That's the product they're selling you. Do you want this? And what are you going to say? You're like, that doesn't sound like a great deal for me. No. So what do? They have to come up with a sales pitch. Harassment and bullying. Who got for AOC? Did I bully AOC? What does that even mean? TikTok thinks I bullied AOC. Okay, so they're like, here's the product. Are these terms acceptable for you? And then you're like, no. So then they got to come up with a sales pitch. So the Democrats and the Republicans are just two different advertising guys trying to sell you the same product. Okay? That's it. They have the same product to sell you. Capitalism is bad for you. And by extension, imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, right? That's it. All right? And they're going to come up with different sales pitches for you. The Republican sales pitch is white supremacy, guns a-blazing, bang, 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 shoot them up, fuck them, let's take it, it'll be fun. That's their sales pitch. The Democrat sales pitch is, we have to. We have to. We don't want to. We have to. Because of human rights. Because of human rights, we have to. Because we care. They are selling you the same thing, okay? So just, yeah. So they're all evil. They're all fucking, all the Democrats are evil. They're all evil. Just going to complain your whole life and nothing's ever going to come of it. Well, Ben Klein 05, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I'm 40 and I can tell you right now, 1/3 of Gen Z aged adults has a favorable view of communism today and 2/3 have a favorable view of socialism. And I can tell you that when I first started getting into this shit, when I was, 25 years ago, those numbers were not there. So actually, I'm going to complain my whole life and things are going to come of it. So, get on the winning side, babe. Get on the winning side. Stop, fuck the ACP. And I would not have even messed with the ACP if they weren't weird little fucking freaks to me first. I don't know why they did that. Fucking weird little freaks. I'm not a turf. I'm not a turf. In fact, my most treasured Twitter mutuals, very specifically, communist trans furries. You want to win a revolution, you need a communist trans furries on your side, my friend. That's who you want. I fuck with them heavy. That crowd. Yes. I was 28, yeah, a long time ago. The future the left wants. Yes. Arm the transgender communist furries. Arm them immediately. This is my politics. That is my politics. You know, I'm just saying, maybe if the Bolsheviks had been furries, Gorbachev would have won. Wouldn't have won. Maybe. I don't know. These are my people. Aren't guns bad? I don't think guns are bad. I'm not a guns are bad person. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a guns are bad person. You've never seen me hard against Mamdani. Yeah, you have. You didn't miss that? That was one of the reasons I got canceled, too. People are like, but Mamdani is different. And I'm like, you guys keep falling for it. You keep falling for it. I can't watch you keep falling for it. He's not different. Who ran lip service after Drew? Drew originally kind of left the company to a friend of his who I liked. But then some bad people sued and got control over it, and now it's owned by some people who I don't think are good people. I'm lying about what? Which part? What do you think I'm lying about? What's the lie? Mamdani seems to love the cops. Yeah, I'm not a Mamdani person. Why do some people fall for the Democrat trap? They're afraid and lazy. Wait, you said... Wait, what is it? You said Leninists should support Mamdani. That never happened. That never happened. Who told you that? I literally read Principles of Communism out loud to you all about our orientation as Marxist-Leninists on Democratic Socialists. These people just make shit up. You did? I saw the video. No, you didn't. That video does not exist. I do not support Mamdani. And go look at fucking pre-existing condition. She had a whole month-long tirade about how I was evil for not supporting Mamdani. Yeah, I said, Mamdani is a dem soak. Nothing will come of him. Here's our orientation. He's not even... yes, exactly. That is exactly what I did. Where do you guys come up with this shit? Where do you guys come up with this shit? Who told you that? Why do you think that? Like, what video? I said Marshall conditions? What are you fucking talking about? They invented... Source, I made it up. Source, I made it up. Mamdani is in 21st century. It came to them in a vision. They are political toddlers. Wait, what are you fucking saying right now? Save it for Friday. Yeah, you said I'd vote Mamdani if I lived in... I said I might vote for him. I don't know. If there's no Marxist-Leninist running, who cares? What does it matter? You know? If there's not a Marxist-Leninist running, I don't think it really matters. Because I don't think electoral politics are a path to liberation. That's true. That part is true. I'm like... But luckily, I don't have to worry about that because I live in California. We have Marxist-Leninists running for office, so I just get to vote for them. It's nice. What would an ideal communist world look like for me? China. I'm very excited to see where China heads anyway, right now. Okay. Coffee is brewing. Good. All right, I'm getting... OBS pulled up. Harm reduction voting. I don't think you guys know what fucking harm reduction means. And voting is not going to give you harm. Voting is not going to do shit outside of a Lenin model, which is you literally use it as an opportunity to educate the masses about politics and pursue long-term agendas that revolve around building different systems. So Marxist-Leninists, I will vote for. I vote. Whatever. I voted in every election, including local and interim, since 2004. I understand why people don't vote. I'm not mad if people don't vote. I understand why people don't vote. I don't think that, again, voting is path to liberation. I am a volunteer on the Vote Socialist campaign, though, for 2026. And I will tell you that people listen when you talk about politics with an election in mind. They listen for some reason. It's like magic. I don't know. They love it. So, you know. Oh, harm reduction was the old CPUSA motto to vote Democrat. Yeah, and I left CPUSA for a reason. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Okay. Oh my God. Burkish Delight. Are you joking? Or are you being serious right now? You might be joking. Are you joking? Or are you being serious? Yeah, they want to believe voting will save everybody because they just want to do something easy. That's so true. They're tired. They just want to do it. Grab time. Yeah, they want to believe voting will save everybody because they just want to do something easy. That's so true. They're tired. They just want to do it. Crab time. All right, crab time, guys. I got OBS pulled up. It's pulled up. We'll probably talk about Iran today if I had to guess. I've got the screensaver's up. The screensaver is up over on Twitch. No, I don't have kids. Crab time? That means we're moving over to Twitch. That means I start crying on here to get you guys over to Twitch. We engagement bait for a few minutes to get you all to join us on Twitch instead. So, I'm guessing we'll probably talk about Iran today, but we do voting. We do a vote system. Yay, JB's here. Hi. Okay, people are trying to show up. Move over to Twitch. So over on Twitch, my username is Madeline Pendleton, and we do long form content and we talk about the news. So we talk about current events from a left-wing political perspective, and we include a backstory of any kind that's necessary, anything left out. We take a look at any language that's used in the current news that's misrepresenting information in some way, and we talk about it in the context of actual left-wing politics. So, I think it's really fun. I think it's really good. It's easier for me to share resources with you all. We can pull things up on screen. It's way better. And people are smarter there. It's not a lot of ding-dongs in the chat. People are smarter there. CIA hacked your Twitch. I can't prove it, though. You know what? I'm going to say yes, they did. The curtain I got from the bins. So come on over, join us on Twitch. It's fun. I drew a tank emote. It's a good time. Twitch increases your IQ. Social credit score increased on Twitch. All the stuff you love and want. We're doing it. Yes, I do have 2 podcast episodes up about Iran, but they don't cover current events. So live on Truth Social. I say this is average Democrat political literacy. Anybody who doesn't like a Democrat must be a Republican. Yeah, I drew those. Yeah. I drew them. Yeah. So no, China does not have a social credit score. I mean, they did in one region for companies to not pollute a river. That's what that came from. I am color coordinated, huh? Wow. Come on over to Twitch. So Twitch over there, Madeline Pendleton as well. Long form content. It's way better. If you're watching live streamers already on TikTok, you might as well watch people live stream on Twitch. If you're new to Twitch, don't be intimidated. When you first go, it looks a little overwhelming, but if you just search for one person's name and pull it up, it's a lot easier. So it's not so overwhelming, and it is easier for us to show things like sources on screen and go through things, and it's more conducive to long form content. I think it is better. I am live, but I have the screensaver up, so you can't see me over there yet. So people are coming in. We have some lovely mods who help as well. There's a Discord. There's links. It's a full educational morning rundown, basically, of what's going on. So, and on Thursdays, we do theory specifically. So every other day of the week, we do current events, and on Thursday, we do theory. So you guys can learn a lot about the world. Come get educated. Yes, I am not in the Discord, but our lovely streamer community runs the Discord, and they're all awesome. And there's also a poll. Yes. And I have some recommended, at the end of every stream, we raid a streamer, another political streamer, so you can find other people on there too. You know, I think it's fun. So come on over to Twitch. You're waiting. How many people are over there? How many people in the chat or in the stream now? Hi chat. Hello. I'm in both places now. I'm still collecting. 152. Okay, we gotta wait a little more for people to come. It's not enough. It's not enough. So you guys come join us over there on Twitch. And the way it works is we pick something from the news. We call it Double Down on the News. You pick a story, and then we vote on 5 different stories in the news, what we want to talk about. And everybody gets to vote together, and we choose something, and we all go through it together. Hydrating already. I got it. We call this the kids table. We call that the adult table. Come on over to the grown-up table. It's going to be a good time. You're going to like it. Trust me. Yeah, I gotta like it. You should go talk to people on TikTok live. It's more, no. Twitch is way better. I think the Twitch thing, way better. Way more conducive to learning. Way more conducive to learning. So, it's the same username here, but without the underscore. Madeline Pendleton. Very, very easy. Let's see. 203. Okay, we got 203. Okay, we're doing it. So there's some of you guys, there's like 300 of you still here. I don't know why you're here. Can you talk to people on Twitch? Yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's a chat. It's awesome. Everybody talks to each other. We're super involved with the chat over on Twitch. We're talking to the chat all the time. We love the chat. It's the best chat. I'm like Donald Trump. It's the best chat ever. We've got the best chat in history. You've never seen a chat so great as our chat over on Twitch. Smartest chat. Numbers so high on this chat. The hottest chat. We've got everything. We've got nukes. We've got fork emotes. We've got the tank that rolls now. We're doing everything. We've got Karl Marx, but we can't call him Karl Marx, so he looks like Santa Claus. We have a big, beautiful chat. Number 1 chat in the world, on the planet. You've never seen a chat as good as our chat. Okay. All right. 250. Oh, you guys are really hanging on here. Okay. We have tanks. We have Juche. We've got Santa Marks. We've got it all. All right. We're making chat hot again. Many such cases over on chat. All right. I'm hanging up with you guys here. So go over there now. Twitch, Madeline Pendleton. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about Iran, I bet. You guys want to hear about Iran, I'm guessing. I feel like we're going to talk about Iran. Okay, thanks, love you, bye. Twitch, Madeline Pendleton. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about Iran, I bet. You guys want to hear about Iran, I'm guessing. I feel like we're going to talk about Iran. Okay, thanks, love you, bye.